lose. Just bad teams. I mean, the bad teams. Not saying Georgia's great. Not saying that Vanderbilt, or not Vanderbilt, but Vanderbilt, Arkansas. Excuse me, Arkansas is great, but Vanderbilt's worse. DePaul is worse. These teams find ways to lose games.
Yeah, it looked for a long time last night like because Missouri and DePaul both winless in the calendar year.
Right.
They were combined 0-37 in the calendar year, and it looked like both were going to win with those two games going on at the same time. And that would have been the final stake through the heart of Villanova if they had lost that game. Mm-hmm. There's the good chance they're not getting in anyway, but that would have definitely been the killer for them. But give Justin more credit for hitting that, and we'll see what they're able to do now after surviving that. And then Georgia, old Blue Cane came through. That dude is good, and he hit some big time shots in the second half of that game to pull it out for them. And Missouri, it's crazy to think that they ended up going winless in the SEC, but I would have never, when the Tigers beat them early in the year, that was never even a thought that they would be being the worst team, and not only worst team, but winless in the SEC.
Yeah, if the Memphis Tigers fans think they have it bad, as you said, Missouri has not won in the calendar year. So they have not won a game since 2023. And that coach is making $4 million a year. But that's the way it is. That's the way it was yesterday with the bad teams finding ways to lose.
He also has one tournament win already.
He does have one tournament win. That's why I said.
And he's got a top 5 recruiting class coming in.
But can he do something with it, right? Right. That's been the question with Penny, with top recruiting classes. I want to see the results. I don't care about the class coming in. But Dennis Gates gets the benefit of the doubt for 2 reasons. One, even though you're in the SEC and you make lots of money as a school, as a program, you don't want to eat a contract that has that many years and that much money left on it. And that's not going to happen anyway because he had a good year last year. This was a horrible year. Not a bad year, a horrible year. But you put together another 1 or 2 of those and you're out of a job. All right, the Memphis Tigers. They begin their quest, as I said, for 4 wins in 4 days. This afternoon, the second game at the American Conference Tournament in Fort Worth, Texas at Dickies Arena. Second game of the day. It will start with Tulsa and East Carolina at 11:30. Wichita State and the Tigers. Of course, Eli, one of your pet peeves, they list that game at 1:30. It will not start at 1:30. But Memphis will play the Shockers for the 3rd time this year. Wichita State winning yesterday over Rice by the count of 88-81. That was a strange game. Shockers were down 13 early. Then they were up 13 at the half. And then here comes Rice to make it close. But the Shockers hang on and win the game. Memphis, as I mentioned, 2 previous meetings. So this will be the 3rd. Tigers won the first meeting at Wichita State 112-86. Wichita State was dominating in that game. That's the strange year it's been for Memphis where they've gone half to half and have had different halves. Great first half, bad first half, or vice versa. Well, they had a horrible first half, an amazing second half, won 112-86. The second meeting was in Memphis, and the Tigers barely won that one 65-63. Personally, I'm glad they're playing Wichita State. It's a team that's more like Memphis. They want to get up and down. Whereas Rice is just that fundamentally sound, slow-paced, almost Ivy League-type basketball, which got Memphis in their only meeting. So Wichita State, Memphis today.
Well, that's the only team you've beaten twice this year. Now, some people will tell you, it's hard to beat a team 3 times in a season. I don't subscribe to that whatsoever. So you should have certainly confidence. You've had, obviously, that second game when you on your home floor trailed by, I think it was double digits in the final, I think 6-7 minutes of that game, and had to make the amazing comeback in order to win. So certainly Wichita State is capable of putting a real scare into you. Wichita State yesterday in that first half shot the ball incredibly well. They are not that team. They are more of the team that in the second half did not shoot the ball well at all. The numbers for the year, they are a bad 3-point shooting team, a bad 2-point shooting team, and a bad free throw shooting team. So, it's a team.
Not a good combination.
It's a team you should beat. Again, you've done it twice, but you also know that based on that game that happened on your home floor, they certainly are capable of beating you if you don't go out and take care of business.
Right. If anything we learned about Memphis this year is that they can come back from deficits. They could also blow leads. We know that. Memphis comes in now at 22-9. That's what they finished the regular season. Wichita State with their win yesterday over Rice, 14-18. The Tigers installed as an 8.5-point favorite over the Shockers. Again, the game will start after that first game at Dickies Arena. It will be on ESPNU. And then the nightcap, the two games, Tulane and North Texas, followed by Temple and SMU. If the Tigers win the game, they will play UAB tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, the Temple game yesterday, they almost let that one get away from them, but they advance on. That's again not a very good basketball team. I mean, you look at these matchups in this round of the American, like you wouldn't expect too many shockers, and no pun intended with Wichita State there, but
ouch.
These should be. These should kind of go the way. I guess the North Texas Tulane game certainly is one that I think you could kind of be a little bit of a toss-up. Tulane just hasn't been as good as they should have been this year. Maybe they figure something out. Mm-hmm. But the rest of these look pretty much like mismatches.
Two Texas teams.
Tulsa, East Carolina. I think East Carolina's terrible, but they might be. Tulsa's also terrible.
Yeah, but Tulsa beat South Florida to end the regular season, so I would think that they got the momentum coming in if there's such thing as momentum for a bad team. But the two Texas teams lose yesterday, for what that's worth, in Fort Worth. UTSA losing, obviously Rice losing, but there's still a couple of more to go with SMU and with North Texas. Oh, by the way, I heard Wolo talking about it yesterday, that he had spoken with Kane from the Memphis Visitors and Tourists Association, also from the Sports Council, that they will absolutely bid on getting the American Conference tournament in Memphis. I'm not sure how many years that the contract has still on the Dickies Arena site, which is a great site, by the way. It's a great arena, and from everything I've heard, they do a good job in hosting. I believe it's 2, it may be 3 more years, but Memphis has hosted conference tournaments before, and they would love to be back in that business. It would be nice if it moved around. I always liked it when it moved around. When it was the old Conference USA, when Louisville was in there with Cincinnati and Memphis, it was usually between those 3 as it bounced around, and I like that fact. But, again, if you have a good site, good host site, it's hard to argue that, but it looks like it will probably go up for bid after this contract ends with Dickies Arena. And again, I'm not sure if it's 2 or 3 years left.
Well, Memphis Tourism is one of the sponsors. You can see them on the court. You got Memphis on the court.
Yes. My son had a lot to do with that, along with Kevin and J.J. Greer and all that. It's great. It's beautiful to see for Memphis promoting this city. That's a great way to do so. All right, so the American Conference Tournament moving into day 2, the SEC tournament moving into day 2. As we talked about, Arkansas winning in overtime over Vandy 90-85, and it was Georgia topping Missouri 64-59. Some other results from around the country. We'll go conference by conference. Not going to get to every conference, but the Big 12, BYU over UCF 87-73. Very quietly, BYU is really, really good. They got a plethora of shooters.
Yeah, they hit 14 threes, I think, yesterday. They're one of those teams in the NCAA tournament could be dangerous because they could do that. They could go out and make a whole bunch of threes against you and pull off an upset. Certainly, that is a good BYU team.
TCU beat Oklahoma 77-70, and Porter Moser's already at it, trying to make sure he gets the word out about the injuries to his team, so the committee understands that.
Yeah, they're one of those. They don't want any. They're probably. They need to be rooting for no bid stealing going on. They were on the good side of the bubble, but to lose your first tournament game. That's not a good way to go about it.
Kansas State over Texas. That surprised me. 78-74. Not that Kansas State's a bad team, not that Texas is a great team by any stretch of the imagination, but I thought Texas, which got out to a quick lead, would be able to win that game.
Yeah, and Kansas State's one of those that, if you're at Oklahoma, you certainly want to see Iowa State take care of business against Kansas State, because Kansas State strings together another win. They're one of those teams that could leap over Oklahoma in a heartbeat and take that spot from them.
And then, of course, there was Kansas. We already knew that Hunter Dickinson and McCullough would not be playing. It just proves that Cincinnati's not a bad team, but Kansas has no depth. Cincinnati 72-52 over Kansas.
Yeah, Kansas just didn't have anybody to score. I mean, that's those two average. I don't even know what their combined average is, but it's a lot. I mean, that's their two best players. I mean, it's one of the best combinations in America. With those two guys. So, and they shot the ball. Even guys like Furphy, who would normally make some shots, like they, in the first half especially, could not make a shot. And then in the second half, it kind of felt like they just kind of realized, they resigned themselves to what it was. Like, we just don't have the firepower to be able to keep up. And they kind of just let go of the rope towards the end of that one.
In the ACC, Wake Forest bubble team got the win over Notre Dame 72-59. Florida State beat Virginia Tech 86-76. Boston College beat Clemson, beat them up 76-55.
Yeah, that game was never really close, just a whooping by them.
Is BC in the field right now, according to bracketologists? What's their record?
BC's bad. Like, they're awful.
They're under 500?
I don't know if they're below 500 or right at it.
Wow.
I mean, they were the 11th seed in the ACC. Like, they're bad.
True. That blew me away. And then there was NC State over Syracuse, 83-65. Syracuse, is it going to be another one of those? It's not Jim Boeheim at the helm anymore, but it's going to be another one of those Syracuse teams that's, we're on the bubble, and then they don't get in, and then there's complaints. I want to say, what are they, 20-12? Syracuse?
I don't think they're really on the bubble. I don't know. I mean, they're fringeable, but I don't think they have any chance at getting in.
NC State, though, looking good, as they always do in the tournaments. They always seem to play well. In the Pac-12, USC beat Washington 80-74. Stanford over Cal in overtime, 87-76. It was UCLA knocking off Oregon State 67-57, and Utah destroyed Arizona State 90-57. Do you think Bobby Hurley's going to lose his job?
I don't know. I don't know what his contract situation is. I don't know what their kind of feeling is right now on him.
Big East, Xavier over Butler 76-72. We mentioned already the Villanova game, beating DePaul 58-57, and Providence over Georgetown 74-56. Big Ten, Maryland over Rutgers 65-51, and Penn State over Michigan 66-57. Hard to believe just how horrendous Michigan was this year.
It was not a good year all around. There between the results on the court and off the court stuff with Juwan Howard and everything else. It was luckily for them, the football team won a national championship, so nobody even cared about the basketball team. They don't even know that they played a basketball season.
Football, yeah.
It's like wait, what basketball season? Juwan Howard's
nobody paying attention.
Juwan Howard's like, remember the football season?
That's right.
What a great year that was. Man, we had an awesome year in football,
That's
didn't
right.
we?
That's right.
Boy, it sucks to lose Jim Harbaugh, though. Man, it sucks to lose Jim Harbaugh.
Man, oh man. So here's the schedule for the SEC tournament at Bridgestone Arena in Nashville for today. You have at noon Mississippi State LSU, 2:30 Arkansas South Carolina, at 6 in the night session you got Ole Miss and Texas A&M, and then you have Georgia and Florida at 8:30. Again, Texas A&M, if they make a run, could get in the dance. As far as Florida's concerned, I think they're solidly in. So there's not much intrigue. Mississippi State, I guess, would be the other team?
Yeah, Mississippi State needs to win. They need to win that game. It doesn't guarantee they're out with a loss, but they will be hanging on by a thread where they lost to LSU. A win probably puts them in unless there's a lot of bid stealing going on. And A&M probably needs this win plus at least one more to give themselves a chance.
Folks, it's Chevy truck season. All the Silverados you want are in Olive Branch at All Star Chevrolet. Big shout out to one of our great sponsors. Come get any new Silverado you want with financing down to 0.09 because your good credit deserves it. Trailblazers and Equinox, 1.9 financing and no payments for 90 days. Families love these new Suburbans. You can do more together as a family. They fit a lot if you got a big family. Where are you going for Easter? Spring break, of course, has been this week. Hopefully you're driving around in one of those beautiful Equinoxes or Silverados. Military, teachers, college students, healthcare workers. Check this out. You get an extra $500 bonus when you shop at All-Star Chevrolet. You want pre-owned? Everything you want is here. All the Jeeps and Ram trucks. Come drive the Yukon Denali or a Traverse. If it's not here, just ask Jeff or Kevin. They promise they'll find it for you. Kevin and Jeff and everyone at All-Star Chevy asked me to wish everyone a happy spring and Easter. Remember, it's not South Haven, not Mount Moriah, Bartlett, or Collierville. It has to be Olive Branch, people. So go to All-Star Chevy today or go to allstarautogroup.com. All right, that's a look at what's happening in college basketball. We'll have more to say about that later on in the show. We'll also talk NBA and the Grizzlies. But when we return, we begin our weekly Showboat segment. We'll be joined by the head coach of the Showboats, John DiFilippo. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
We are Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
This Sports 56 traffic report is brought to you by Luttrell Building. They keep you moving.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Purchase new wiper blades from O'Reilly Auto Parts today and we'll install them for free. See better and drive safer with O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The 75th anniversary sales event is on at Gossett Volkswagen Germantown, and we've got Rock and Ronnie Smith ready to put you in your new V-Dub today.
That's right, Randy. 3's your lucky number. 2024 Taos S, or a 2024 Tiguan S, or a 2024 Jetta Sport. Your choice. $275.96 per month.
Plus, Gossett Volkswagen Germantown's got 2024 Atlas Cross Sport, $33,999. Plus 1.9 for 60 months on all Atlas and Atlas Cross Sports, and 0 for 60 months on 24 Tiguans, but only at Gossett Volkswagen Germantown.
Come see me, Rockin' Ronnie Smith, and let me put you in your new V-Dub today.
Gossett Volkswagen Germantown, 7420 Winchester Road, or online, GossettVWG.com. All 36 monthly, 7,500 miles, 20 cents excess mileage. Do not combine APR offer with 3,000 customer cash rebate. House RMO 53314, MSRP 26063, Tiguan RM 003120, MSRP 30,026, Jetta RMO 48802, MSRP 25506, Cross RC 23156, MSRP 38998. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
This Sports 56 traffic report is brought to you by Luttrell Building. They keep you moving.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Traffic's picked up even more in the last few minutes. I-40 eastbound coming across the bridge over from West Memphis. It's going to be that way for at least another 10 days until they can get this bridge back open here on 55. Again, they continue to work there. This morning, traffic's building up through South Haven on 55 northbound. Still looks good right now with that steady flow of traffic on 385 Billmore Parkway coming out of Collierville, headed towards 240. Hey, 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services right here in Memphis. It's Tomahawk Crane and Rigging. Check them out at TomahawkCrane.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by East Memphis Ace Hardware at the corner of White Station and Quince. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Everybody's working for the weekend.
We'll go inside the showboats in just a few moments when we're joined by John DiFilippo. We'll have a different showboats guest each and every Thursday during this time slot. The showboats will open up on March 31st in Houston, and then the home opener on April 6th versus San Antonio, the first year of the combined USFL, XFL, now called the United Football League, and it starts again on the weekend of Easter.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Another 10-week season. Same thing as far as that is concerned, but certainly the rosters should be a lot better when you've taken 16 teams and condensed them down to 8. I know just from what Coach and others have talked about, I think around the league, that's kind of the thing that stands out to them. And they just had to make a big wave of cuts. And it was a lot. It was hard because there were some guys that certainly would have thought would have been probably making the team that had to be cut. But it's the competition in all of these camps is really, really tough. So should lead to better football. And I thought the level of football was good last year, but now it should be that much better when you take away half the players, basically, of the league.
Well, that's the hope. I thought the ball was last year was very good as well. I thought it was very solid. But, yes, when you condense, it should be better. I mean, for example, Cole Kelly, as we talked about yesterday, was released. He was the starting quarterback for 8 of their 10 games last year. So they feel very confident that they have stepped up, going out and getting Cookus, who has certainly done a really nice job in his professional career. They feel like they've elevated that position, and I'm sure they feel like they've elevated a lot of positions. We'll talk to the coach here in just a second. In the meantime, my gosh, yesterday on the show I made the statement that it seems like to me there is more big names changing places, signing contracts, free agent contracts, being traded in the NFL than I have ever seen in one particular offseason. And I will stick by it after yesterday, more big names. They continue to wheel and deal in the National Football League, and there's still many more moves to be made. But it's interesting how the Memphis Tigers and alums of the University of Memphis have been in the news. Yesterday we talked about the deals for Tony Pollard in Tennessee, Antonio Gibson in New England, Bryce Huff with the Philadelphia Eagles. Yesterday, speaking of the Eagles, Jake Elliott, 4 years, $24 million for their kicker. The $6 million per season average ties Elliott with Justin Tucker for the highest paid kicker in NFL history.
Yeah, great for him. And he has obviously done an amazing job. He's been incredible in late game situations, all of that, and cool to see him get that type of contract and set some history as far as kickers are concerned. If you're up there with Justin Tucker, that's a pretty good company to be in when it comes to kicking.
Yeah, you're looking at two kickers from the University of Memphis, and Stephen Gostkowski and Jake Elliott, that when it's all said and done, I mean, you think about where their standing is, two of the greatest kickers ever. I mean, it's not even an argument. Gostkowski has it certainly with his numbers and his Super Bowls, and Jake's already got a Super Bowl and has been one of the best kickers each and every year. So we'll talk more about the NFL and all the moves that they're making, but certainly it's happening in the UFL as well. As I mentioned, it's the start of our weekly Showboat segment, and we are joined by the head coach of the Memphis Showboats, John DeFilippo. You can follow him on Twitter at UFL Coach Flip. Coach, how are you?
Hey, great to be with you guys this morning. What's going on?
Great to have you. Man, a lot's going on between the damn UFL and the NFL. It seems like every player is changing spots, changing locales this year. It has been crazy, but it's certainly been very busy for you. Roster moves that have been made, roster moves that still have to be made. I would imagine that's the toughest part, or at least one of the toughest parts for a coach, to have to make those tough choices of who to keep and who to let go.
It's the worst, and it's the worst necessary evil of the job. And it's part of the responsibility you accept when you sit in this chair, and you know you have to do it. You know it's coming. The day you show up to training camp, you look out, your first team meeting, and the first thing you think about is, I'm going to have to cut 17 of these guys in about 12 days. And it's just the first thing you think about. If you care about people, that's the first thing you think about. And it's the hardest thing to have to do, but you have to put your heart aside and do what's best for the football team. And that's because that's what your job is as a head coach. You have to do what's best for the team. And so that's what we felt like we did.
How much along that line, but just overall, camp this year versus camp last year? We're talking, when you're eliminating, between the two leagues, half the teams, the talent level obviously goes up, makes those cuts, I'm sure, much harder. But how much do you think, like, kind of just the level of play seems to have improved for camp this season versus last year?
It's the level of speed we have on our team right now. We didn't have, and we had, we have 17 of the New Orleans Breakers on our team right now. And a couple of those guys knew how competitive this camp was going to be. So I was taking, for instance, Jonathan Adams, who had a great year for us last year in New Orleans, one of our receivers. He came in, 12 pounds light and is flying around like I've never seen him run before. And the speed level when I watched a lot of scrimmages from this past weekend. The speed level of this league is different from where it was last year, I think, in the USFL or the XFL, because you have the best of both leagues. So I just saw a lot more speed on the field than I saw when I watched an XFL game last year or being in the USFL.
As you evaluate your talent, are you keeping an eye on other players who you may like from around the league that have been released and are looking for a new home?
We are. We always keep an eye there. But we are limited in moves, okay? Right now we're full. We have 58 players right now. By next weekend, we have to get down to 50. So if we release a player at this point in the season and sign somebody else, it counts against one of our 8 moves for the year. And so you got to be really strategic with those moves because, if a guy gets hurt and is out for the season, that doesn't count as a move. But if you just say, hey, this guy's not good enough, we made a bad decision, whatever, you have to cut the young man, and that counts as one of your 8 moves. So you got to be really careful. We're not afraid to make moves around here, but at the same time, we got a lot of football to play.
One of the moves you did make this week was the move with Cole Kelly. Obviously, people familiar with him from his time starting with the Showboats last year, played at Arkansas. People here familiar with him from his days there as well. Obviously, we knew when Case Cookus came in, you had a really good quarterback. You also have Troy Williams there. But what was kind of the decision to let Cole Kelly go?
Yeah, it was a hard one. Really, really hard one. And we were fortunate to have 3 quarterbacks on our team that have started a lot of football games, in the USFL. Obviously, Case Cookus has been a 2-year starter in Philadelphia. Troy Williams was a starter last year at Pittsburgh Maulers, and obviously, Cole was started last year for the Memphis Showboats. I felt like I had to do what's best for our team.
Sure.
It really wasn't what Cole didn't do. It was more what the other guys brought to the table. And I felt like we needed to bring somebody else in that had more of a skill set of the other 2 guys to complement what they do best.
Mm-hmm.
And was just a different skill set than what Cole had. And so that's what I felt. It was probably the hardest decision of camp I've had to make, the toughest conversation of camp I've had to have. But at the end of the day, like I said, I have to do what I think is best for our team.
John DiFilippo joining us, the head coach of the Memphis Showboats. You can follow Coach on Twitter at UFL Coach Flip. You were just talking.
Hey, first of all, sorry about my voice, guys. It's mid-camp, so
gosh.
I apologize for my voice. You're not getting the best of my. Been doing a little bit of yelling here.
We expected that.
I was going to say, that's pretty good for mid-camp.
We would have been concerned, man. we would have been concerned if you came out here and sounded like Robert Goulet. I mean, I would have been wondering what you've been doing the whole time. You just talked about the speed. So you've been impressed with the speed. What other things have you been impressed about with your team watching them perform here in camp?
Oh, I'll tell you what, guys. I think we're pretty good on defense. Okay, we got some guys that can really rush the passer. We have speed at all 3 levels on our defense, and I think this is what I think. I think I hate to pat myself on the back because I never like to do that, but I'm really happy with the decision we made as an organization to keep Coach Carnell Lake around here because I think he's really good. I think he's really good, and he's a really good guy, and he's a great coach. And he has those guys flying around right now on defense. And like I said, we have speed at all 3 levels. So I'm really, really happy as a team where we are, but I'm thrilled where we are on defense right now.
How did your scrimmage go this past weekend?
It went well. Unfortunately, got cut a little bit short. We had an injury. I don't know what the HIPAA rules and all those things are, but we had an injury to a young man who was fine. Right now, he's fine. He's in practice. He's standing up and all those things. We had a young man get hurt on a kickoff return that had to be, taken to the hospital. And so Coach Stoops and I decided after that that was enough. And unfortunately, our scrimmage got cut short. But thankfully, the young man is fine. He's at practice, and he'll be back to work on Monday.
So what's it been like down there in Arlington, all the teams there in the pod preparing for the upcoming season?
Arlington's been awesome. It's been really, really good. I'll tell you what, Friday Night Lights is alive down here. I mean, we practice in a stadium of seats about 25,000 people. A high school stadium in Mansfield, Texas, and we have 13 indoor facilities that are within the Arlington area that are high school indoor facilities that we're allowed to use if we have bad weather. So, the commitment to football down here to all their football in Texas is pretty unbelievable.
It's not a myth, right,
really
Coach?
good.
It's not a myth.
What's that?
It's not a myth, the football
No,
down in
it's
Texas.
not. No. It's the real deal down here. Friday Night Lights is real. And so that TV show that I watched an episode or two of, you're like, and that's not really going. That's not. And no, it's real. And so, we're very fortunate, to have these facilities down here, and I get why the league wanted to be down here because they're bending over backwards for the league down here to make sure we have everything we need.
Talking with Memphis Showboats head coach John DeFilippo. So your offense, obviously you were in the NFL for a long time, and are you here running kind of the same offense? Do you have to tame it down at all? How is this offense you're running with the Showboats compared to what you were running in NFL camp with NFL teams?
Yeah, it's probably 60% of what you would run in the NFL. And here's the only reason why. The only reason why is because we have 3 weeks of training camp and, or 4 weeks of training camp this year because we have 75 players. In the National Football League, you have, 15 OTAs, rookie mini camp, mandatory mini camp, 6 weeks of training camp, three preseason games. You have a lot of football before you kick off the first week of the season. So you have time to get a lot of things in and a lot of things to practice. We're fortunate. Last year we had 3 weeks of training camp. This year we have 4. It's just impossible to put as much in, and which is fine. That's plenty of offense. Believe me, it's plenty of offense. So yeah, we are based on offensively. We're based on a West Coast system. And, we believe in a power running game, a quick passing game, and run play action movement on first, second down. And that's what we're going to do. And right now our players have bought in. They're doing a great job.
And along that line, now, you do have some guys who are with you from New Orleans, so they obviously come in, but it's obvious you don't have your quarterback, so these quarterbacks are all learning this. Are you comfortable with where you are and kind of in the timeline here of installing that offense of where you wanted to be at this point?
It's a great question. You're never comfortable as a coach. You wish you had 3 months, before your first game, 6 months before your first game. So you're never comfortable. But at the end of the day, these are professional football players, and you got to let them go. You got to let them fly around, and you got to trust them. And, you got to trust the process in installing an offense and, let them fly around. And that's part of the deal. And we're very fortunate that we got a lot more speed on this team than we had in New Orleans last year.
You open up on the 31st at Houston. Houston may be the strangest team of all this USFL, XFL merger because they merged the 2 Houston teams, the one from the XFL, the one from the USFL. How do you prepare for an opponent that you really have no idea what they have?
Yeah, I watched their scrimmage last night, actually.
There you go.
Yeah, because we get all the tape. We got all the tape from their scrimmages. Now, it's a 30-play sample size, so it's not like they're playing a whole game. Like, to your point, you're exactly correct. I don't want to talk too much scheme on here, just in case Chris Wilson's listening. He is defensive coordinator of the Roughnecks. He and I won a Super Bowl together in Philadelphia.
There you go.
But what you do, we played them twice last year as the Houston Gamblers. The Gamblers became the Roughnecks. Okay, so there's still a decent portion of their team that we played against. We were very fortunate to beat them twice last year. And so what you do is you pick out what the quarterbacks do best really early in the season. Hey, what do we execute the best? What do we execute the best during training camp? And it's almost like a greatest hits album. You know what I'm saying? Like these are your greatest hits. And you go and you get the first game under your belt. You let everybody fly around. Everyone can see a different color jersey across from them, and you roll. And so that's kind of how we'll approach that.
Because you still have another wave of cuts, but when do you really start preparing for that first game?
Yeah. probably, I have it on the calendar that we'll start watching Houston as a coaching staff on this coming Monday. So right now, what is today? I don't even know if they're on the training.
Today's Thursday.
14th.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't tell you if it's Thursday or Monday. I have no clue. Every day it's like Groundhog Day when you're in football professional training camp. It's literally Groundhog Day. So we'll start players today. We are practicing for 2 hours in pads. Tomorrow we're walking through. Saturday we are having a joint practice with the St. Louis Battlehawks, and then Sunday the players are off. So Sunday, the coaches will start preparing for Houston. We'll watch their scrimmage as a staff, and we'll start getting some ideas together on what we want to do against those guys. And then, obviously, during the game week is normal prep week. We'll have another player's day off that next Sunday, and we'll grind and get the game plan together.
Well, I know you're getting excited. Everybody's getting excited. Hopefully the fans here are as well. Although it's not until the 6th when you can see the team here in Memphis. That will be the home opener against San Antonio. But again, it starts on the 31st as the Showboats will open up at Houston. He is John DeFilippo. He's the head coach of the Memphis Showboats. You can follow him on Twitter at UFL Coach Flip. Coach, as always, thank you so much.
Guys, it's always a blast being with you guys, and I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
We'll talk
Coach.
soon. Take care. That's our Inside the Showboat segment. We'll do it each and every Thursday.
We talked about the fact that Cole Kelly was released. There was Derek Dillon, who was a huge part
Yes,
of
he was.
last year's team, had the 109-yard missed field goal return, was one of the first round of cuts. And
Did that surprise you?
So, you're think again, this is those are two of the better players off the Showboats team from last year. They're not even good enough to make the team now with this team.
I'm biased, but there were two Maryland defensive backs that were cut. One will likely be in one of them who's very good. So I think to Eli's point, when you combine the two leagues, there's going to be much more talent to choose from.
And there were one of the linemen they brought off the New Orleans team, who was an all-league lineman last year, was one of the first cuts.
Wow.
So there's an upgrade in talent around the league, but for each of these teams, and I'm sure it's a lot harder to make cuts this year than it was last year.
Yes, and I'm sure it's harder for him personally to make cuts when it's some of his New Orleans players from last year where he was the coach. It's a little different. He wasn't the coach of the Showboats, but I'm still sure, like he said, it's hard to cut anybody, no matter if you have the personal relationship with or not.
This time of our program is brought to you by East Memphis Ace Hardware, corner of White Station and Quince, is where you'll find everything you need to get those projects done around the house. Did a few projects myself over the past week or so. Able to get everything I needed over at East Memphis Ace Hardware. Of course, plus it's grilling season, grilling weather. The Big Green Egg, best grill there is, last grill you'll ever need to buy. You can find everything you need for that. All the different sizes of the egg, all the egg accessories as well. East Memphis Ace Hardware, corner of White Station and Quince.
You're tuned into Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hey, Mid-South, it's springtime, so let's celebrate with the Gossett Mitsubishi Motor Spring Sales Event. Time to go spring breaking with 43 MPG Highway. Do it right with 2024 Mitsubishi Mirage. We Gossett for only $19,110 or $259 a month. Go your own way in style with 2024 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross. We Gossett $30,150 or $449 a month. Or hit the road in 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander SE $36,165 or $399.99 a month. Plus, every Gossett Mitsubishi comes with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. That's Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, and 24/7 at MemphisMitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Mirage RH 006614, MSRP 1916, Eclipse RZO 32749, MSRP 30,650, Outlander RZO 12807, MSRP 36,165. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Excludes tax, title, and licensee. Dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Where are my basketball fans at?
Presents.
Welcome to Fandom 101. The madness is upon us. When the biggest ballers in the land take the court, we need you loud, proud, and live cheering them on. The NCAA Division I men's basketball first and second rounds, March 22nd and 24th in Memphis. Attendance is encouraged. passion is mandatory. Buy your seats today at ncaa.com/MVP tickets. Class dismissed.
Napa Cafe celebrates 26 years in 2024. Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I want to thank you for making us part of your dining experiences. Treat yourself tonight with a delightful dinner. Maybe start with an appetizer like our baked sweet peculiar peppers stuffed with goat cheese and mozzarella, finished with basil pistou, and move on to one of our cozy dishes like the double chocolate stout braised boneless beef short ribs with tonkatsu sauce and creamy mashed potatoes, or a fresh seafood dish like our pan-roasted ginger buttered sea bass with cilantro soy vinaigrette. I get hungry just talking about it. Don't forget about dessert, our famous sweet buttermilk pie with brown sugar sauce, or drink your dessert with one of our signature dessert cocktails, like the lemon cheesecake martini, lemony, icy, frothy, and dusted with graham cracker crumbs. Napa Cafe, open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. For reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. Come join us as we celebrate 26 years of Napa Cafe. We can't wait to serve you.
At Edwin Watts Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf, there's something that binds us all. The collective goal to transcend the ordinary. Introducing the all-new Vokey SM10 wedges. Made for lower flight, improved feel, and maximum spin. Unlock your ultimate wedge. Play with the new Vokey SM10 wedges. Visit us in store at Edwin Watts Golf Shops or online at worldwidegolf.com. Get there.
It's time to discover your new Kia at Gossett Kia on the Pike. And there's never been a better time to drive off in your new Kia. Make it happen today in a 2024 Kia Forte LXS. 41 MPG, $219 a month. How about sporty 2024 Kia Sportage LX? We Gossett $289 a month. Both $34.99 to its signing. And get rugged in 2024 Kia Telluride LX. $429 a month. $39.99 to its signing, all 36-month lease. So call Bobby J to put you in a new Kia today. That's Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or online anytime at KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Forte RE72, $39.85, MSRP $22,320. Sportage R7, $24,7640, MSRP $29,635. Telluride RG, $49,9963, MSRP $41,005. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax on a license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 4/1/2024. Dealer stock only.
O'Reilly Auto Parts can help you find a repair shop with our shop referral program. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by East Memphis Ace Hardware at the corner of White Station and Quince. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. We thank John D. Filippo for joining us on the program. Kerry Miller coming up at 8:25, but we'll have plenty of time to take your calls and texts on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines. The Players' Championship underway from the Players Stadium course at TPC Sawgrass in Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida. Matt Kuchar, quick start for Cooch. 3 under through 2 holes. So we got an eagle in there somewhere, I believe. Thomas Dietrich is 2 under. Camilo Bejegas, Lee Hodges at 2 under, but just underway. So I want to ask this question, and we'll talk about it when we get to hour 2. We'll also get into the Grizzlies. And last night they lose the game, but unbelievable that Eli Savoy yesterday on the show asked about Scottie Pippen Sr. and Scottie Pippen Jr. Has Scottie Pippen Sr. shown up for a game? Why hasn't he shown? And there he was last night. So I want to talk about that and obviously the Grizzlies last night and some other NBA action, including a huge night for a former Memphis Tiger. But my question to throw out there for our listeners, if they want to answer it via the Sissy's Log Cabin text line at 901-360-8255. If the Tigers win 4 in 4 days with this field in the American Conference Tournament, does it surpass 3 in 3 days last year, which included knocking off the number 1 team in the country in Houston to win the American Conference Championship? Does, just because it's one more game, which is a daunting task, does that mean it's a bigger accomplishment for Penny Hardaway if they can get it done than what it was last year when you knocked off the best team in Houston. So we will discuss that on the program when we come back for hour number 2. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Brian Dacus is in today for Zach Boyd. This is Sports 56 Mornings on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Case IH is a proud supporter of the Mississippi Farm Bureau, and thanks to a membership benefits partnership, Mississippi Farm Bureau members receive a discount of up to $500 on every qualifying Case IH tractor and piece of equipment you purchase. This discount may be used with other promotions, rebates, or offers. So join Mid-South Ag Equipment and the Mississippi Farm Bureau and pocket up to $500 in savings. Call Mid-South Ag at 662-890-3141 to get your discount today.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
They're taking care of business in Memphis, right on the river with Grind City Brewing and all of their great products. Look, this was a dream come true for a father and son duo. And if you have not been to that brewery right on the river, just to the north of downtown, you're really missing something special. And now you can't miss their products. Wherever you go, you see a brand new label. It's clean, it's beautiful, it's distinctive. You'll know Grind City Brewing, and of course you know their products like Poppy's Pills, that great Pilsner, or Tiger Tail, that very creative craft malt liquor. There's the new Thaddeus Amber Lager. That is absolutely a great light beer. There's the India Pale called Godhopper. It's outstanding. And then there's the Belga, the Belgian-style wheat ale. They keep bringing hits at Grind City Brewing.
Hey, this is Eli Savoy, and I've got a question for you. Who wants to pay full retail for a pre-owned car or truck when you can buy it at wholesale? Wholesale Unlimited on Pleasant View, right off Covington Pike, has an unlimited selection of super sharp pre-owned cars and trucks you can buy at the wholesale price. And right now, you can use your tax refund as all or part of a down payment and still just pay the wholesale price. Chevy Silverados, F-150s and Ram trucks, Tahoes, Explorers, Jeep Wranglers, Grand Cherokees, Renegades, a Cadillac SRX, Camaros, Mustang convertible, Hyundais. Check it out. Go to wucars.com or Google Wholesale Unlimited Memphis. This is great. Your money goes a long way when you can buy at the wholesale price, and tax refund time makes it even better. Go to Wholesale Unlimited on Pleasant View, just off Covington Pike, with guaranteed approval. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports 56, and you can thank me later.
Are you aware? It's patio season. Family Leisure sure is. That's why they have factory direct pricing on swimming pools, spas, and even, yes, patio furniture. Yes, sir, it's indeed patio season. So come by Family Leisure and check out all the brand new 2024 patio furniture sets. And with patio season here, you know that pool season will be here before you even know it. So buy now to get in line for your pool installation and get pre-season pricing. Plus, you could save $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, even up to $5,000 on all spas and swim spas. Family Leisure has got special pricing on all in-stock saunas, theater seating, pool tables, and even outdoor kitchens. I love it when it's patio season because of all the fantastic deals that Family Leisure makes available just for you. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Oh, yeah. Sports 56 Traffic.
Good morning. They're working this wreck over here on 240 westbound, just past Sam Cooper, like you're headed towards Walnut Grove. It's affecting that traffic on 40 westbound as you also make your way past Sycamore View Road, getting up on that 240 flyover. Some of that traffic is getting off there onto Sam Cooper. Again, a crash over here as we look at it live on 240 west, just past Sam Cooper. 55 remains closed on the bridge. A 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services right here in the Memphis area. It's Tomahawk Crane and Rigging. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Genuine diamonds, baby.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 8:01 the time, hour number 2 here on Sports 56 Mornings. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy. Brian Dacus is in today for Zach Boyd. We are in the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. It's the Thursday, March 14th, 2024 edition of the program. Currently 65 degrees, very comfortable, mostly cloudy, but the rain is a-coming possibly this afternoon. But definitely tonight, a very high percentage of rain, thunderstorms, and severe weather is possible tonight. The lows will only be in the 60s, so it's not going to drop off as far as getting cold. And then tomorrow looks like it'll be a mostly cloudy day, but again, some severe weather moving into the area tonight, and then it'll zip on out of here. First hour, we talked plenty of Tigers. We'll continue to talk Tigers as they get ready for their quest for 4 wins in 4 days in the American Conference Tournament. We went around the nation as far as basketball tournaments are concerned, including the SEC tournament, which is being taken place at the Bridgestone Arena in Nashville. We talked with John DeFilippo, the Showboats head coach, in our weekly Showboats segment, which kicked off this week. We're going to talk some Grizzlies here in just a moment as well. We invite you to be a part of the program. You can hit us up on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines at 901-360-8255. The second hour of the program brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers. They are your family's jeweler at 4900 Poplar between Mendenhall and St. Nick, and on the web at gaddisjewelers.com. If you're planning on getting engaged, getting hitched this spring, this summer, you're looking for that special engagement ring, as always, I tell you, make sure you go to a number of different jewelers, but make sure James Gaddis Jewelers is one of them. I guarantee you're going to like what they have to offer. Great prices, great service. Again, they've been a part of the Memphis fabric for years and years, 25 or more years now, and counting in the East Memphis location. And before that, they were on Summer Avenue. So they've been around for 4 decades, basically, with their fine jewelry. Whether or not it's a engagement ring or wedding ring, maybe it's a watch. They have watches of all types, both pre-owned and brand spanking new. They have custom-made jewelry. They have estate and vintage jewelry. They have gemstones of all types, bracelets and necklaces, earrings and pendants, so much more. It's James Gaddis Jewelers. 4900 Poplar between Mendenhall and St. Nick, on the web at gaddisjewelers.com. All right, so I asked the question. First of all, would you guys say that winning the conference tournament last year, knocking off number 1 Houston to get to the NCAA tournament, has been Penny's biggest accomplishment on the court to date?
Yes.
Not okay?
Yeah,
we're not talking recruiting and recruiting classes. I mean, because other than that, he's got 1 NCAA tournament win, right? And then nobody's going to say the NIT championship.
Oh,
so it's got to be
banner
last year.
hanging up in FedEx Forum.
They may have a banner, but you guys both agreed that it was,
absolutely.
and I agree as well, that it was last year, because I thought last year he did a very good job. It was a good year last year, and it got off to a great start this year. But if they go 4-4, which is going to be certainly a very hard thing to do, extremely hard thing to do, not an impossibility, but very hard to do. Would 4-4 with this field top 3-3 beating Houston last year, where Houston was nationally ranked?
No. Not even close.
I don't think it's close either. Even though
you could have a path that through this tournament that is like you play nobody, basically.
Right, but people talk about having the stamina for
getting up for 4 games, playing through 4 games physically, mentally, and winning 4. That would be the argument. Plus, if, let's say, it went true to form, Florida Atlantic would be sitting there in the championship game. But I agree with him.
Yeah.
I agree with him. Not because it's not an accomplishment. It is. But 3-3 beating Houston, where Houston was, I think is the bigger accomplishment. Do you agree?
Yeah, no, I'd probably say I think, when you look at it, 4 games in 4 days, definitely a tough task, but also 3 games in 3 days, and also you add that third game is Kelvin Sampson's Houston team. We know how they defend. We know how they play. It's going to be a 40-minute all-out fight. So, yeah, I would put that over this year for sure.
Again, if you want to comment on that topic, that question, 360-8255, hit us up on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines. You could text in just a simple which one you think would be the biggest accomplishment. What right now, if you were in Vegas, what odds would you give for Memphis to win 4 in 4 days?
Well, they're the second favorite in the tournament. I don't know what their current odds are, but they're the second betting favorite to win the tournament.
Wow. But what is that number? It's got to be low, right? Would you give it 2 out of 10? 20%?
No, I'd give it better than that. I mean, again, they are a more talented team than anybody they're going to play until the championship game.
That I agree.
And that's if Florida Atlantic reaches the championship game.
But we haven't seen them play too many smooth 40-minute start-to-finish games, complete games. And that concerns me more. What concerns me more about this is Memphis, not the opponent. It's what the Tigers do or don't do.
They're plus 500 right now to win the tournament. Florida Atlantic's the prohibitive favorite at plus 150. South Florida and SMU are both at plus 550.
Wow. Does that not surprise you a little bit?
Not at all. I would have guessed they would be the second betting favorite.
But again, they got to win 4 in 4 days. It doesn't happen often. And South Florida was the regular season champions, losing twice.
Well, generally, the team that's got the second most talent or whatever, most talent in the league, doesn't put themselves in a position to win 4 in 4 days.
Let me tell you this. Talent doesn't always win. Just ask John Calipari in Kentucky. Talent doesn't always win. And we see that a lot in college basketball. I'm just looking at odds. I'm not talking about what Vegas says. I'm just thinking to myself, okay, wait a minute. South Florida beat Memphis. I know they had to come back from 20 down. They only lost twice during the conference season. SMU, behind them as well, split the two, but they crushed Memphis in their second meeting. Memphis is ahead of those guys. Memphis only trails Florida Atlantic in the eyes of Vegas. I mean, I'm not surprised by that.
Well, SMU's on the side of the bracket of the team that's favored to win it. So that
comes into play. Yes, that comes into play. But certainly Florida Atlantic.
All that's telling you basically is that they favor Memphis against South Florida, which, shouldn't Memphis be favored against South Florida?
So do you think it's going to be a picnic tomorrow against UAB, assuming they win today? You think it's going to be a picnic?
For this Tiger team, I have no idea.
I
know Memphis is better than UAB.
They should be better.
Well,
they were one of the 2 games they played them.
All those odds are basically telling you is that they favor Memphis over South Florida.
Right, but we know this team like the back of our hand.
I don't know this team at all. You can tell me nothing surprises you about this team. I don't think anybody knows this team.
We don't know what makes them tick, but we know the results. I mean, we know every game that has been played because we talk about those games. Vegas, they do a great job, but they haven't, I'm sure, looked at every single game, diagnosed every single game, every half of every game, because every half has been different for Memphis. I'm just saying that it doesn't shock me that they're the second pick, but again, 4 in 4 is not an easy task. I asked the question, what would be the biggest accomplishment? So if Memphis can get it done, would this be the biggest accomplishment for Penny Hardaway? The 3 of us said no, because last year they had to go 3-3 and beat the number 1 team in Houston. What say Melvin? Melvin, how are you?
Hey, how y'all guys doing?
What do you think about that question?
I mean, like, I was at the tournament last year, so it was the best win then, but the position they in now, I think at the top deck, last year, Memphis was automatically going to the tournament anyway.
Yeah, but we're talking about we're talking about the accomplishment solely, not the result. We're not talking about how important it was as far as they would have to win to get to the tournament this year. I'm talking about the actual accomplishment of doing that, beating the number one team to win a conference tournament title or to win 4-4 with this field. You say it would be this year.
Yeah, because based on how the bottom fell out the season, you know, how the fans feel, the Penny's feeling the heat. Because I didn't get to call in the other day how he reacted. That kind of scares me. Because when he came out and said that instead of just worrying about the team, so the pressure is, you can see a lot of pressure on it. It takes some pressure off him. And it can kind of reel some fans back in, maybe some boosters to help, fund the roster for next year. So you got to take all that into consideration. Like, it's year 7, and a lot of people want to, be out on the situation. So he needs this just for good faith. If you look at it, you know what I'm saying? And, last year, Houston was number 1, but, Timmy, we're not. Then they had Stelson was out that game.
Yeah, but you're talking about what the ramifications will be of winning or losing. I'm talking about this would be 4 wins over 4 unranked teams. Last year was 3, and you beat the number 1 team to win the championship. That doesn't come into play?
Yeah, but if Memphis don't win, don't make the tournament, everybody going to be back, it's going to be back like the man, it's time for Penn to go, or he's not getting the job done. Or if you win and go to the tournament, you get rid of some of that. I'm saying, what's happening right now in real time, he'll really need this. Last year was last year, and it was the best win, but he needs to win the tournament this year that he can get
right. We're talking about 2 different things, but you're right. Yes, there's pressure to get it done after what happened this year, the great start, the 10th ranking, and then the debacle finish. Yeah, no question. I'm just talking about the actual result of the tournament. Both would have to win. Last year they had to win that got him the automatic qualifier. This year would get him the automatic qualifier. I'm just talking about what would be the biggest accomplishment. You say because of all the pressure and everything, it would be this year. All right. Gotcha, Melvin. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. If you want to debate it, 360-8255, Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines. I mean, he makes a great point. There's certainly a lot more pressure with the roller coaster year it's been to get it done. Maybe a bigger accomplishment than last year. He may very well be right, but we still believe because of who they had to beat and where they were ranked nationally compared to unranked teams, I thought last year was his biggest accomplishment to date, which it is, but it would be bigger than if they get it done this year. Just my opinion.
A texter says Memphis defeating Houston was the one and only time any Memphis basketball team ever beat a number 1 ranked team, so it was bigger.
Yeah, that's what we're taking into consideration, not the amount of games, but who they actually beat to win it.
Max says 4-4 means nothing to me if Penny doesn't make a deep NCAA tournament run, which is something he hasn't even come close to doing with the talent he's had.
That's the other thing. People certainly will not be satisfied with just getting to the tournament. But if they don't get to the tournament, which the odds are stacked against them, it's going to be an all-out blitz on this program this year and the lack of getting to the promised land after last year taking a step and moving in the right direction. So no question about it. But right now, I think for most Memphis Tigers fans going through this roller coaster year, and Bryant, as a alum of the University of Memphis, you can speak to it. I mean, right now it's like, hey, let's just get there and see where the chips fall, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, talking to my friends and stuff that are, I went to school with that are huge Tiger fans. I mean, they are just pleading that they get to the tournament. They don't care how they do it. They don't care what fashion they do it. Just get to the tournament, and I think they'd be happy. But you're right. I mean, when you look back at what Memphis has done since Penny Hardaway has been here, I think the promises of and I guess hopes of these deep tournament runs just haven't been there. And so I think we kind of set that expectation, especially when you bring in the talent that he brings in through the transfer portal, recruiting, whatever it might be. You set those expectations, you have those expectations, and then when they're not met, you're a little disappointed. But I don't like to move the goalpost, but I think you can a little bit and just maybe be happy if they make the tournament.
Yeah, that's an interesting point because I don't disagree with what the texter's saying because the texter seems like it's
he or she is a matter-of-fact person, and I'm a matter-of-fact person. What have you done for me lately? What do you do once you get to the postseason? Whether it be professional sports, whether it be collegiate sports, what have you done? Even high school sports. You could have the great regular season. That's fine. That's fantastic. But what do you do in the playoffs? What do you do in the state tournament? What do you do in the NCAA tournament?
Ron Texan says some people think it's an automatic win today. Quinterly better show up for both halves.
That is right, Ron. You are absolutely right. You cannot take any of these opponents for granted. Nobody.
We've seen them do it too many times this year.
We've seen it. They lost 7 games. They could have lost 3 or 4 more in the conference.
And like I mentioned that, Wichita State is generally a terrible shooting team.
Mm-hmm.
But against the Tigers, they shot 52% from three-point range, 55% overall in the first meeting. In the second meeting, they did not shoot nearly as well. They shot 35% overall, but still nearly 39% from three-point range. But that was the game also that they had a double-digit lead with 6 minutes to go on the Tigers' home court. So, if it hadn't been for an amazing, comeback by the Tigers and David Jones hitting the shot at the end, like that, the game they shot poorly would have been the game they would have won, and they would have done it on the Tigers' home floor. So they are certainly a team that has shown capable of beating Memphis, even though, again, they are the only team that Memphis beat twice this season.
What did they shoot in the second? Do you have the box there? What did they shoot in the second half of the game at Wichita when the Tigers ran them out of their own gym?
Second half?
Yes.
They shot 50% overall and 46% from three-point range.
And got run out of the gym.
Wow.
Well, the Tigers in that game were, that was the Tigers' best performance of the year. They were 19 of 30 from three-point range.
I was about to say, they made so many three-pointers in that second half.
They shot 64% for the game and 63% from three. Like, the Tigers just could not miss that day. So, that was by far the Tigers' best performance of the season.
Why couldn't they bottle that up?
Honestly.
Why couldn't they find that ingredient again?
I remember that the second Wichita State a lot better than I do the first one. I was at that second Wichita State game, and especially early, I know everybody's been talking about Memphis' defense all season long, but the amount of wide open threes that Wichita State got early in the game and just flat out missed, it could have been way worse than what it was, and probably a way bigger hole for Memphis that they wouldn't have been able to dig out of if they had just made their three-pointers. And like Eli said, it seems like they made them in that first game, so you certainly can't give them opportunities because they were finding good looks.
And the Colby Rogers kid who had the nice game yesterday for them, he could shoot it. That dude. But in the game here, he was 5 of 8 from 3. The rest of the team was 2 for 10. So, he's the one guy you certainly do not want to give the open threes. Again, overall, they're a bad shooting team. He is not a bad shooter. That guy could shoot.
Well, let's be honest. This defense this year, playing that help scatter defense, has given up so many open threes. You can go back to Villanova, that first half of that Villanova game. They were getting that corner three, banging it down every single time. But it happened almost throughout conference play. Now, it seemed like they found something in that Charlotte game where they started to communicate a lot better. Still, they were playing that switch defense, that help defense. UAB, remember the UAB game, they're getting blown out at home. And then Penny decides that he's going to get away from that, and he's going to go strictly mano-a-mano. And they came back and they won that game. So there have been spurts, but very much, for the most part, this team has lacked that ability to play effective help defense. They've given up too many easy shots at the rim or kicks to the open man shooting the three from the perimeter. I'll be curious to see what Penny does today and what he does. I don't want to assume they win, but if they win, what they'll do from here on out, especially that UAB team, which, again, was a weird game here in Memphis, and they beat Memphis in Birmingham. So I'll be curious to see what Penny does as far as defensively. I'll also be curious to see what he does as far as the bench and the rotation. Because, again, 4 and 4 days, you're going to have to get some support from the bench. But then again, you don't want to see a lineup that had Joe Cooper, Jalen Young, Jordan Brown, David Jones was fine on the court, and then who else? Jaden Hardaway. That was a lineup, and that's when that lead went in the game against Florida Atlantic on Saturday.
To further illustrate that point on their shooting, Rogers shoots 41% from three, and he leads them in attempts by a wide margin. The next 5 guys on their team in terms of attempt, nobody shoots over 31%.
Holy cow.
Wow. Literally, all you got to do is don't let Rogers get shots. Yeah. Let anybody else on their team shoot a three.
And you're good.
And you should be good. But you cannot let Rogers get open threes. Now, again, yesterday, he was 5 for 9, I think it was, from three-point range. Was he 5 for 9? 5 for, yeah, 5 for 9 yesterday from three-point range. So, again, I don't know how he's getting shots, but he's still getting shots. And those might be contested threes, too. Like, he's a good enough shooter. He's probably making contested threes. But literally, the whole thing should be, wherever number 4 is,
right,
don't let him get threes.
I don't mind. I mind if it's my team and still giving up threes no matter what. But if they're contested, what are you going to do? Sometimes you just tip your cap to the offensive player. It's that they're almost always open when Memphis gives up those threes. They're almost always wide open threes. All right, so real quick prediction. Rogers, how many threes does he hit today?
Well, I'm sure he's going to shoot a bunch. I'll say he'll probably still hit 4.
You're going to go 4? I'm going to go 3. Okay, I'm going to go 3.
I mean, he'll probably attempt. I'm going to guess especially if they get down, he's going to, I'm sure, be attempting a ton. He'll probably attempt 10 to 12. And again, he's a 41% shooter from three-point. He's a fantastic three-point shooter.
Yeah, if they are to beat Memphis, he is going to have to be on target, get shots, and knock them down. All right, we'll take a timeout. When we come back, we will talk with Kerry Miller from Bleacher Report. We'll go over his bracketology, what he thought happened yesterday as far as affecting the bracket, affecting the field, and then his expectations for today and the rest of the weekend. We'll talk with Kerry about that. Then Kerry, starting probably 2 weeks from now, will be our baseball insider. He does both baseball and basketball for Bleacher Report. We love having him on the program. And then after that, we are guest-free. We'll have plenty of time to take your calls and texts. We'll talk Grizzlies and NBA. We'll get back to the NFL and all the moves that have been made. That's as we continue here on the show. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch us daily with live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
At Edwin Watts Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf, there's something that binds us all. The collective goal to transcend the ordinary. Introducing the all-new Vokey SM10 wedges. Made for lower flight, improved feel, and maximum spin. Unlock your ultimate wedge. Play with the new Vokey SM10 wedges. Visit us in store at Edwin Watts Golf Shops or online at worldwidegolf.com. Get there.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
It's time to discover your new Kia at Gossett Kia on the Pike. And there's never been a better time to drive off in your new Kia. Make it happen today in a 2024 Kia Forte LXS. 41 MPG, $219 a month. How about sporty 2024 Kia Sportage LX? We Gossett $289 a month. Both $34.99 to its signing. And get rugged in 2024 Kia Telluride LX. $429 a month. $39.99 to its signing, all 36-month lease. So call Bobby J to put you in a new Kia today. That's Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or online anytime at KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Forte RE72, $39.85, MSRP $22,320. Sportage R7, $24,7640, MSRP $29,635. Telluride RG $49,9963, MSRP $41,005. Includes all rebates and incentives. Specified through Hyundai. Excludes tax on a license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 4/1/2024. Dealer stock only.
Chris Price, it's so good to see you. And you have a new business?
Yes, Dave. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Have you noticed water stains on your ceiling? With storm season here, take a walk around your home or business and look up. Make sure there are no water stains signaling a leak prior to the heavy storms coming in. If you do see signs of water, call me. My team and I will come out, diagnose the problem, and prescribe a fix. Our team of Hague-certified inspectors are waiting to assist with any inspection or repairs you may need. We have 3 crews dedicated to repairing roofs in the Mid-South. As certified Owens Corning and Mule High dealers, we offer 20-year, no-dollar limit labor and material warranties that offer hassle-free ownership. That's our hassle-free ownership guarantee. Allow Metro Builders team of professionals to assist you in maintaining your property's integrity and value. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Your local commercial roof experts. Ask about our commercial roof maintenance agreements. Protect your investment with MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Call me, 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717. 375-1717.
A new era in public safety begins with you. Be the change you want to see. Join us for the Memphis Police Department Hiring Expo on Saturday, March 30th, 2024, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 170 North Main Street downtown. We will take applications, perform basic testing, and interview candidates on site. Salary starts at $54,611, increasing to $72,000 after 3 years. Free parking will be located at Poplar Avenue and Front Street. For more information or details, visit joinmpd.com.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts and boots. Frontier is your top Carhartt store in the Mid-South. There's thousands of in-stock shirts and jeans. They have the classic K87 pocket tee in every color they make, including new ones just released. Available small to 4X. Want new jeans? Frontier has you covered with super tough work denim by Carhartt. And you've got to check out their selection of Ariat jeans for men, women, and children. You'll love how easy it is to find the size and style you need. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled world-famous boot showroom? It continues to expand. New styles by Ariat just arrived, plus plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need work or dress boots, trust that Frontier's the place to come. See thousands of pairs of Ariat boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twisted X, and others. And Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Trying to move a little bit better for that earlier wreck we had over here on 240 westbound between Sam Cooper and Walnut Grove. Now it's still a little bit busy on 40 west as you come past Sycamore View Road, getting up on that 240 flyover. Yes, they continue to work on 55 on the bridge. Hopefully in the next 10 days they'll have this all wrapped up and it'll take a little bit of pressure off I-40 there coming over from West Memphis on the I-40 bridge. Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64 is your full service family-owned jewelry store right here in the Memphis area. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Diamonds are forever. Woo!
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 8:30 the time. We are halfway home on this Thursday edition of Sports 56 Mornings. Another huge day of college basketball, wall-to-wall, from this morning until tonight, just like it was yesterday, and we are very pleased to be joined, as we will, on a weekly basis, most of the time, talking baseball, because he is our Major League Baseball insider. But Kerry Miller also, aside from baseball, writes about college basketball at Bleacher Report. You can follow him on Twitter at Kerrance James. He joins us now on Sports 56 mornings. So I'm looking at your latest bracketology, Kerry, and I see last updated Thursday, 2:22 a.m. Eastern Time. Holy smokes! Did you get any sleep?
A little bit, yeah. And you mentioned that I do baseball as well. I had an off-season report card grade piece for this morning, and then yesterday we have the Dylan Cease trade and Garrett Cole's elbow injury, and fun times. But I'm awake.
Plus, the baseball season is strange because you have the Dodgers and the Padres opening up on the 20th or 21st in Seoul, South Korea. So basically a week before everybody else opens up the season.
Yep, pretty much. Semi-opening day is the opening day of the NCAA tournament. Nobody consulted me on that one.
Well, it's great to have you on. Thank you so much, even with the limited amount of sleep. And make sure you check out his latest bracketology, Kerry's at Bleacher Report. And make sure, Kerry, eventually you text me your music, your walk-up, baby. We got to get that done. All right, so let me ask you this. We knew it was going to be tough for Kansas with missing their two studs. They lose by 20 to Cincinnati. Where are they projected as far as seed is concerned? It was not a banner year for them. They couldn't win away from home, from Lawrence, from Fog Allen, and they don't have a real deep team. So what do you got, Kansas?
Yeah, I still have them as my top 4 seed. I think they're between them and Marquette with the Tyler Kolek injury, and I don't know if it's a little bit of a fallout from the Florida State football issue with their quarterback getting hurt and the committee using that as an excuse. But man, it feels like we are wanting to talk more and more about how injuries are going to affect seeding this year, and generally it doesn't. Like, your resume is what it is. The committee doesn't know for sure whether guys are going to be healthy or not. I think it's a little bit different with a team like Providence, which has been without one of its stars for like 19 games, and we have like a full, basically almost a full season's worth of data to show what they are. But I think you just base Kansas on what their resume is, and it's still a solid 3-seed resume. I think maybe they get clipped a little bit down to a 4 because there are other very good candidates for 3s, but there's been a lot of talk about, will the committee penalize Kansas for not having McCullough and Dickinson? I don't really think they will. I mean, if you've been doing this long enough, you remember the Kenyon Martin team. They still got a 2-seed, even though he broke his leg or whatever back in that conference tournament.
It was in Memphis when it happened. Yeah, we were there. But no, the injuries sometimes are used as a crutch. Sometimes it does make sense. I mean, you got Porter Moser at Oklahoma coming out already, guns firing about the injuries. Here in Memphis, they had a key injury with Caleb Mills. They were never the same without Caleb Mills. I'm not saying that should have led to losses to Rice and South Florida ended up being pretty good. But the point is that everybody goes through a season with injuries, and if you start to break down every single game, every single injury, you'll go mad. You'll need to go to the nut house. And second of all, I just think it would be too much to factor in.
Yeah, it is. It's too much. Somebody posted a graphic the other day of like games where teams on the bubble were without at least one starter or something, and like Colorado has been without at least one starter like 16 of their games. Like, were we just throwing out half of their season then? What do you want to do here?
Right.
But I think injuries come in where Pittsburgh's only really great win was on the road against Duke when Duke was down 2 starters. I think that's something that needs to be considered. Or if a team loses, suffers a really bad quad 4 loss down 2 starters or something, that's something that needs to be, if it's a one-off situation. But when it's like, how is the committee going to evaluate them based on their current injuries? I feel like they won't, because every team has injuries at some point.
That's like, I mean, you look at Kansas, they've got wins over Houston, Connecticut, Tennessee. So that's 3 of your number 1 seeds right now.
Right.
They've beaten all 3 of those this year, plus a win over Kentucky as well. I mean, they've got some really impressive wins on their resume.
Were they all at home or neutral?
Kentucky and Tennessee was neutral. Connecticut and Houston were
They won at Oklahoma. That's about it.
Yeah, so they really couldn't win away from Fog Allen for the most part, but a neutral court, I guess they were fine, which will be neutral courts, obviously, in the tournament.
The SEC, do you believe Mississippi State has to win today?
They are definitely on the bubble. I'm always reluctant to say anybody has to do anything at this time of year because there's so many shifting pieces. But I think they're right there with Texas A&M, who I'm higher on Texas A&M than anybody is. So I think if A&M wins and Mississippi State loses, the Aggies are then ahead of the Bulldogs. What that means for the actual cut line will, depend on bid thieves and everything. But they are. We wanted to lock them in a while ago, right? When they had before the end of the season with 4 consecutive losses. Now it's a little more iffy whether or not Mississippi State gets in.
I assume Clemson is already firmly in, but they didn't help themselves with the loss yesterday. What does that do as far as seeding? What kind of damage?
Yeah, they dropped a little bit. They were my bottom 5 seed, and that's a spot in the bracket where it was really hard to find anybody worthy. So I didn't drop them too far because I didn't feel great about anybody behind them in the first place. But where I think it's a more interesting impact is that now Virginia plays Boston College instead of playing Clemson. And Virginia is right on the bubble. Like, if they had lost a neutral game to Clemson, that's not a big deal. I almost feel like a loss to Clemson would have done less damage than a win over Boston College will do for their resume right now. So kind of a weird, tough luck there for the Cavaliers who, when they lose, they get blown out. They've given the committee no reason to like them. If they were to pick up a bad loss at this point, that would probably be the end of the line for them.
What about that Wake Forest Pitt game in the ACC tournament? Is that kind of a play-in game in your mind?
I think so. I think it's both a play-in and a play-out game. I know the Lenardi had tweeted about that it's very unlikely that both teams get in. I think you even could see a scenario where the winner doesn't get in. I don't necessarily think it's a 100% play-in game, but as long as there's not too much bid thievery, if the bubble is around where we expect it to be, right now I have Pitt as my second team out, Wake Forest as my third team out. So obviously a loss won't help either one, but I think a win probably pushes them in and may unfortunately be what knocks Indiana State out. I hope the Sycamores get in, but I'm not supposed to have a rooting interest as a bracketologist.
But you have them in right now, Indiana State?
They are my last team in, and I think it definitely helps them that James Madison won their tournament, Drake won their tournament, so there really aren't that many. McNeese State won last night, so there aren't many 27, 28 win teams sitting there. They really stand out from, comparing them to Villanova and Pitt and Wake Forest. Just the fact that they're 27-6 is going to help, I think. I think the committee almost always, if there's just one mid-major, they're going to be trying to take that team unless, all hell breaks loose and they have to take, bid thieves instead.
Yeah, they have to take the 9th place team from the Big Ten, I hate that. That's always a discussion, right? When you get the 8th, 9th place teams in the bigger conferences, or this team that had an unbelievable year but didn't beat too many strong teams and finished runner-up in their conference tournament or something like that. So, and I know Indiana State went out pretty early, but that's always a debate. Kerry Miller is joining us from Bleacher Report. He covers both college basketball and Major League Baseball. You'll follow him on Twitter at Carrens James. Check out his latest bracketology at Bleacher Report. So how many teams, in your opinion, an honest assessment here, how many teams do you think have a legitimate chance to win it all?
75? I don't know.
Come on!
No, I think it feels like still 5 or 6, right? Still feels like Connecticut is the obvious pick. I think Tennessee has gained a lot of ground in recent weeks, even with that loss to Kentucky. I mean, they didn't get blown out by any means. That was a very good game against one of the other teams that feels like a legitimate threat to win it all when they decide to show up in the Wildcats.
Mm-hmm.
And Purdue and Houston, if you can trust either of them. Houston's shooting is miserable, and Purdue obviously has a history of losing to double-digit seeds and hasn't made the Final Four in like 45 years. So there's more of a history situation there than the current team situation. But I feel like all 4 current 1 seeds, so I have Tennessee as my 4th number 1. I think all 4 of them could win it all. And I think if Kentucky decides to show up and play defense for 3 weeks, they could win it all too. But I mean, even
what about Carolina? North
Carolina. Even Carolina. If Arizona decides to play well, if Tyler Kolek's healthy for Marquette, like there are so many teams that absolutely could go on a deep run. But if you're making me pick 5, it would be the current 1 seed, then Kentucky.
Gotcha.
And Kentucky, so you throw Kentucky ahead of. Do you just believe that they'll play defense? Because I don't know if I can believe that. Or is it just there's so much talent?
Yeah, I have no faith in Kentucky whatsoever. But peak Kentucky is second only to peak Connecticut, I think. When they decide to play, they're unbelievably good. But at no point, I'm not going to feel comfortable writing Kentucky in my bracket 6 times, but I'm also not going to feel comfortable picking them to lose at any point. So who knows? They're the wild card that's going to decide. I think the winner of your totally not-for-profit bracket pool will be whoever picks Kentucky properly.
Can we say now it's for profit? I mean, in this day and age, my gosh,
right?
We should be allowed to say
I got in big trouble in college for running a bracket pool for like $10 a pop, and now we've got like Rob Doster's out here tweeting about join this $4,500 pod pool or whatever. I'm like, man, we think times have changed.
They have changed.
If among your current 1 seeds, so let's say Tennessee is that number 1 seed, which one, if one were to go out early, who do you think it would be?
Purdue.
I would say of the 4, I have the least faith in Tennessee actually making the Final Four, but I'm pretty confident that team can beat 16 and then an 8-9. I'd probably say Houston just because they are so likely to just score 50 points in a game, and last year's tournament they got blown out by Miami. Like when defense is your thing, you never know when you're just going to run into a hot shooting team, no matter how well you defend.
Right.
And if you can't shoot to keep up with them, which I don't know that Houston can, I think they are a little more susceptible than most teams.
I think they're a little better offensively this year, but your point is well taken. Purdue, it wouldn't surprise me if they cut down the nets. It also wouldn't surprise me if they lose again to a double-digit seed. It all depends on how they call the game, how closely they call the game with Zach Edey, excuse me. So I don't know. Purdue is hard for me to believe in, even though I know they certainly have the ability to win it all. How about as far as dark horses? Where do you want to go? 8 seeds or higher? 7 seeds or higher? Give me a couple of teams to look out for.
I'm not sure where
and we don't even know the
is going to land
yet.
at this point.
Right,
but
we don't know the field, but I'm just asking you to guess here.
Yeah, I think right now I have Gonzaga as a 7. I think they would certainly be dangerous. They've been playing very well as of late. I question their defense for sure. That was also a problem last year. They made it to the Elite 8 regardless, but they don't have Drew Timme this year. I don't know that I really trust them, but they got hot when you want to get hot, which is kind of all it comes down to. We'll see where Florida Atlantic lands. Obviously, Memphis guys, you've seen FAU when they decide to play well, right? They beat Arizona on a neutral court. They also lost at home to Bryant. So who knows what version of FAU we're going to get, but they have the talent. I mean, it's basically the same team that made the Final Four last year. Right now I have them as a 9 seed again, and maybe they could pull it off again.
With Florida Atlantic, if they were to lose their first game in the conference tournament to either Tulane or North Texas, could they be out?
Yeah, they're definitely on the bubble. I have them as a 9. They're clear of a play-in game right now, but after 33 overall, so my top 9 seed, like coming into the week, everything beyond that was like I don't want any of these teams in. Like this is gross. So I don't feel confident. Like I had Oklahoma at 34 overall, and after their loss to TCU yesterday, I'm like I'm not sure this team's in. We'll see. So I think. If FAU were to take a bad loss, I think I have them at 35 right now. That could definitely knock them towards the cut line, and if that would cause a bid thief in the AAC because right now, I do have South Florida projected as that champion because they are the 1 seed, but that would, in theory, FAU should be the only AAC team getting in.
Well, enjoy the games. Drink a lot of coffee. Make sure
working on it.
Follow Kerry on Twitter, folks, at Kerrance James, and follow his bracketology. Obviously, Sunday will be the real deal as the field will be revealed or unveiled. Kerry Miller's the guy. You'll hear him each and every week here on the program, talking whether it be NCAA basketball or, of course, Major League Baseball. Looking forward to another season with Kerry. Thank you, Kerry, as always. Really appreciate it. Stay hydrated, right?
Hydrated and caffeinated. There's enough water and coffee, right?
Thank you, Kerry.
All right, take care, guys.
Speaking of getting yourself ready for a big day of basketball, need a good breakfast? Well, head on over to Sunrise. See the folks at Sunrise at either one of the two locations, the original at 670 Jefferson Avenue or Sunrise East on Poplar Avenue in East Memphis. That could get you a good base. Get you some of that coffee as well. They get you ready for a big day of basketball. Again, it starts at 10 o'clock this morning. 52 games that'll be played today over about 14 or 15 hours. So you want to make sure you get that day off to a good start. You can do that by going to see the folks at Sunrise. Maybe one of those biscuit sandwiches with their homemade big old square biscuits, or maybe one of the breakfast bowls or the kitchen sink. That's about as solid a base as you could possibly get for a good long day of watching some basketball. And, of course, you could enjoy maybe if you're off work today and to enjoy the basketball, maybe you want to enjoy a Bloody Mary or a mimosa or just a beer while you're over there. Of course, not only breakfast, but great lunch as well over at Sunrise. Some great sandwiches and salads and other things on the lunch menu as well. Sunrise901.com, that's the website. You can check out the menu. You can order for pickup on there as well to make it very easy to pop in, get your food, and be on your way. Again, 670 Jefferson Avenue, that's the original, and the Sunrise East on Poplar Avenue in East Memphis for breakfast and lunch. It's Sunrise.
We'll dive into the NBA and the Grizzlies when we return. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
When you think about insurance and you want great value without sacrificing great service, I want you to think one place: the Eflin Insurance and the entire Eflin Insurance team. Matt and his group of professionals will access 10 leading companies to find the right home and auto program that fits your budget and your absolute needs. The Eflin Insurance team, the number 386-GER, 386-4777.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous, serving the official barbecue of the Memphis Grizzlies.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. A bottle of Lucas Complete Fuel Treatment can clean your system and help your engine get more MPGs. Right now, you can get 2 bottles for only $9.99. A great deal to help you go a great deal farther. Find Lucas Complete Fuel Treatment and everything you need for better fuel efficiency at any one of our 6,300 stores.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Hey, this is Eli Savoy, and I've got a question for you. Who wants to pay full retail for a pre-owned car or truck when you can buy it at wholesale? Wholesale Unlimited on Pleasant View, right off Covington Pike, has an unlimited selection of super sharp pre-owned cars and trucks you can buy at the wholesale price. And right now, you can use your tax refund as all or part of a down payment and still just pay the wholesale price. Chevy Silverados, F-150s and Ram trucks, Tahoes, Explorers, Jeep Wranglers, Grand Cherokees, Renegades, a Cadillac SRX, Camaros, Mustang convertible, Hyundais. Check it out. Go to wucars.com or Google Wholesale Unlimited Memphis. This is great. Your money goes a long way when you can buy at the wholesale price, and tax refund time makes it even better. Go to Wholesale Unlimited on Pleasant View, just off Covington Pike, with guaranteed approval. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports 56, and you can thank me later.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
To reveal the full spectrum of its dazzling color.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Grizzlies lose last night to the Hornets 110-98 after winning the night before against the Wizards. Grizzlies 23-44. That means 15 games to go in this miserable season. But last night, it was all about the Pippins. Scottie Pippen Jr. back in the lineup. He had been out for a while, playing point guard. 27 minutes, scored 10, make that 9 points, had 10 assists, went 4 of 8 from the field. Had a pretty solid game and did so in front of his father. One of the greatest players to ever play the game, Scottie Pippen. And ironically, Brian Dacus, yesterday on the show, Eli brought that very topic up, that subject up. I don't think at that point we knew that he was going to play.
Right.
And then you talked about Pippen, Eli, not having been to a game, at least at FedEx Forum, to see Scottie. Who knows how many times he's seen him play. I would imagine he's seen him play quite a few times. But he made the appearance last night.
Yeah. It's always been curious to me that he had not been here before. But certainly, again, and this is just different because here, you know he's going to play when he was healthy. Obviously, when he was hurt one year, but you know he's going to play because when he was with the Lakers and stuff, like I don't know, he's probably not going to play. Here, you're like, no, he's going to play. I can go watch my kid play, and I know he's going to play.
Right.
So that was cool for him to be there, and
nearly a double-double.
I don't know when Larsa will make her appearance. We'll see if we get her to make an appearance, and who might be with her. Who you never know. But good to have Scottie Jr. back, just to actually have a point guard. Somebody who can play the point guard position is always a nice added feature to an NBA team.
In a game the Grizzlies lost by 12, he was actually a +4 in the plus-minus department. The other player for the Grizzlies that was plus was John Conchar. Everybody else was minus, including the bench players that really struggled. They were led, the Grizzlies were, by G.G. Jackson in the starting lineup, 26 points, 6 of 12 from the field for G.G. Jackson, who continues to impress. Luke Kennard had 17 points. He had 4 of 8 threes. So between the two of them, they went 10 of 20 from 3. And then Trey Jemison, another solid game, 14 points, and he had 6 rebounds. But nobody could contain Miles Bridges, who went for 27 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists.
Nobody on the Grizzlies can control Micic. The dude has lit him up both games this year. That dude
25 points.
He doesn't
8
miss.
assists.
He doesn't miss shots against the Grizzlies. He just, especially from 3-point range, the guy is incredible against the Grizzlies.
So are you saying 9 of 10 from the field, 5 of 6 from 3 is good?
And those are the same numbers he had at Charlotte. He lights them up. They cannot stop that dude from making shots. Bridges, it's somewhat understandable. They don't really have anybody to guard Bridges. But Micic is just crazy against them.
So the Hornets are now 17-49. Grizzlies, as I mentioned, 23-44. Next up for the Grizz will be a Saturday loss against Oklahoma City. Sorry.
In the books.
The combined 44 turnovers last night did not make that a pretty basketball game to watch. That was
44 turnovers.
It was rough. The Grizzlies just turned it over like crazy, and Charlotte wasn't much better in that turnover category. It was, man, oh man, just hold on to the basketball for a second.
It's just, it's amazing. You look at this roster. Last night, 9 players for the Grizzlies played. Okay, let's talk about them. Scottie Pippen Jr., not a part of the team before the season started. Trey Jemison, not a part of the team. G.G. Jackson, they had just taken him in the second round, was a two-way guy. Conchar was a role player, certainly, and Kennard. Then the bench, LaRavia, and we didn't know what to expect from LaRavia, but it probably wasn't good. Then you got DeJon Jarreau, Wenyen Gabriel, and Jordan Goodwin. What?
If I was to tell Taylor Jenkins before the season, you're rolling with those guys, he'd be like, what, did I get demoted to the G League? It's crazy.
Well, 5 of the guys that played last night at the start of the season were on G League contracts, regular G League contracts. And then you had GG, who was on a 2-way contract to start the year. But Goodwin, Gabriel, Giroux, Jemison, and Pippen were G League players to start the year.
That's why, we kid because we care, right? I mean, nobody's looking at this team. That's why the whole talk about Taylor early in the season, they maybe got to fire this guy. Shut up. He is a really good coach, and the players love playing for the guy. I mean, look at the hand he's been dealt. This is crazy. In the meantime, last night in the NBA, it's been an interesting week for, Memphis products. We've talked a lot about the football. Jake Elliott, Bryce Huff, Antonio Gibson, Tony Pollard, all these big contracts. Jalen Duren last night for the Pistons, former Tiger, 24 points and 23 rebounds. What? It's like Chamberlain numbers. 24 points, 23 rebounds. And then James Wiseman has been actually playing well. He comes off the bench. So the two combined for 30 points and 33 rebounds. Pretty awesome. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, hour number 3, we got a lot more to talk about as far as the National Football League is concerned, all the moves, what other moves could be made. And then we'll get back into Tiger talk, NCAA tournament talk. If you'd like to participate, hit us up on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines. You can call in or you can text in at 901-360-8255. That's 901-360-8255. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Okay, so there are some rules about what someone can and cannot say on a commercial. For one thing, you have to tell the truth, something not everyone necessarily follows to the letter. And there are a couple of phrases we're absolutely not supposed to say. For example, this is March, and this is an ad for Bell Tavern, Memphis' perfect bar. As you know, while Bell Tavern isn't a sports bar, there are always sports playing on the TVs. And in March, there is one particular basketball event that Memphians really love. But I can't say the name of it. I can say Madness, and I can say March, but I can't say, well, you get the idea. Anyway, if you want to enjoy the third month of the year craziness, Bell Tavern's the place.
Spring is around the corner. That means the sounds of air conditioners cranking up will be in the air soon. Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. This month only, receive $1,000 off the purchase of a new Carrier AC unit. No gimmicks, just $1,000 off for the Choate's Early Bird Carrier AC Special. If your AC is in good shape, call us to get your $60 20-point AC tune-up to get your AC cleaned and ready for the warm seasons ahead. Choate's is here for all your cooling, heating, plumbing, air duct cleaning, and commercial needs. Call us today at 347-8086 to take advantage of these early bird specials. Or to schedule online, visit ChoatesHVAC.com. So turn to the experts with Choates. And remember, let our family serve your family.
Chris Price, it's so good to see you. And you have a new business?
Yes, Dave. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Have you noticed water stains on your ceiling? With storm season here, take a walk around your home or business and look up. Make sure there are no water stains signaling a leak prior to the heavy storms coming in. If you do see signs of water, call me. My team and I will come out, diagnose the problem, and prescribe a fix. Our team of Hague-certified inspectors are waiting to assist with any inspection or repairs you may need. We have 3 crews dedicated to repairing roofs in the Mid-South. As certified Owens Corning and Mule High dealers, we offer 20-year, no-dollar limit labor and material warranties that offer hassle-free ownership. That's our hassle-free ownership guarantee. Allow Metro Builders' team of professionals to assist you in maintaining your property's integrity and value. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Your local commercial roof experts. Ask about our commercial roof maintenance agreements. Protect your investment with MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Call me, 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717. 375-1717.
Savings. Now that's speaking the Lowe's language. And with My Lowe's Rewards, your savings just keep coming. Save money with member-only offers and earn points when you shop. More points equal more rewards just for you. Because Lowe's knows you earned it, literally. Learn more about our new loyalty program at Lowe's.com/MyLowe'sRewards. Program subject to terms and conditions. Points are awarded on eligible purchases. See Lowe's.com/terms for full details. Subject to change.
Memphis, get loud for your Memphis Grizzlies when they face off against the Oklahoma City Thunder this Saturday on Wrestling Night. Arrive early. First 5,000 will receive a Grizzlies luchador mask. Get hyped, get ready for an epic matchup, and secure your tickets today by visiting Grizzlies.com.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. MPD wrapping up a couple of earlier accidents. It remains a little bit busy coming down the interstate over here on 40 westbound as you come past Germantown Parkway all the way up to Sycamore View Road. Yes, they're still working on the 55 bridge. That's going to go on for at least another 10 days or so. Traffic still moving 55 right now, coming up through South Haven, coming up from the south. Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64 is your full-service family-owned jewelry store here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings.
Good morning.
On Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 9:01 the time. Final hour for us today here on Sports 56 Mornings. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Brian Dacus pinch hitting for Mr. Zach Boyd. Of course, Bryant will be on from 3 to 6. With Mr. Brett Norsworthy for Sports Time on Sports 56.
And happy birthday to Zach today.
That's right.
It's Zach's birthday today. That's right. He told us that he turns 30.
Big 30. That's right.
The big 30. Yeah. My wife threw a party for me when I turned 30 from a bunch of my old TV station co-workers back in Salisbury, Maryland. Yeah. 30 is a big number, man. It's a big milestone, 3-0. Currently 64 degrees today as you get your Thursday going, folks. We're looking at a high of 79. A lot of clouds out there, maybe a little peek of the sun, but a few isolated thunderstorms developing this afternoon. And then tonight looks like it could be some severe weather, possible risk of severe weather in the area. So be careful if you're heading out tonight, which I am. Thunderstorms are likely, and we're talking about the possibility of an inch of rain, low of 64. And then Friday, some rain still in the forecast, cloudy, 67 degrees for a high. Well, gentlemen, got some bad news here. The Jaromir Jagr bobblehead giveaway in Pittsburgh has been ruined. It's off. The Penguins announced that a shipment of the Jagr bobbleheads had been stolen. Somebody stole all the bobbleheads.
They came through Memphis?
I don't know.
Long trip if it did.
We are a hub, though, aren't we, as far as products and packages and things of that nature. I don't know where it came through, but the Jagr bobbleheads, somebody has a whole shitload of them.
We are also a hub for people like taking these trucks and breaking into them and stealing everything that's inside of them. We're a big hub for that.
Yes, we are. Why'd you have to bring that up? Although you're correct, sir. So anyway, I don't know what they're going to do as far as that's concerned. But somebody has a lot of them right now.
Probably pulled up to the bridge, the I-55 bridge. It was closed and never saw the trailer again.
So when they go on eBay and the one dude's selling like 1,000 of them, you know who stole the Jagr bobbleheads. All right, so we talked a little bit about it earlier, the latest NFL signings from yesterday. Jake Elliott, of course, the former Memphis Tiger who signs that huge deal with the Philadelphia Eagles. He has been such a clutch kicker. There are several of them, but he is right up there with the best of them. How about the Titans? Right? Calvin Ridley, 4 years, $92 million, $50 million guaranteed for their new coach and coordinator running that offense. The former Jacksonville Jag receiver, Alabama receiver, comes to the Titans. And then you have also quarterback Mason Rudolph, a veteran who was with the Steelers, who started their playoff game, comes in as a veteran backup. So Ryan Tannehill, that's done. You have Will Levis penciled in as the starting quarterback, Rudolph as the backup. I'm not sure about Malik Willis. But with Tony Pollard
And with Calvin Ridley, they've gotten better just with those two guys by a mile, in my opinion.
Well, Pollard versus Derrick Henry, I don't.
Well, yeah, but Derrick had slowed down. I'm just talking about this last year. I mean, he was still okay. But you hope
Derrick Henry's a better running back than Tony Pollard.
And then they would have kept him, Eli.
It's a money situation. Money situations in the NFL.
You saw what he just got and what Tony Pollard got. It's not that far off if you wanted to keep him. Look what he signed with Baltimore. I'm just saying that Tony Pollard, they're looking at it as giving them more options to catch the ball out of the backfield, to hopefully bounce back from a mediocre year last year in Dallas when he was the guy. They are betting on him to be the guy, and then to get Calvin Ridley. Now, all the pressure is going to be on Will Levis, being able to throw the ball and get it to them. He showed signs, but I'm not sold that he's the answer. But I think that's the reason they went. Pollard's younger, but he's not real young, but he has not a lot of wear and tear on the body like King Henry did. So I think that's why that move was made. But I think it's an outstanding move. You don't think so?
Calvin Ridley, I think, is a great move.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying offensively.
I think the idea that you steal him from the best team in your division also helps. It was thought to be the Titans weren't even being mentioned, and then all of a sudden they swoop in and get him. So Calvin Ridley is.
So you don't like the Pollard move, right? What are you, a scoring Cowboy fan? Is that what you are?
I didn't say I didn't like. You just said they got way better. I think Derrick Henry's better than Tony Pollard. That's not an outlandish statement.
Derrick Henry was.
They didn't get better at the running back position. I don't believe they got better at the running back position.
So you think
I believe they got way better at the wide receiver position.
They consciously made a move like that to get worse. So they're thinking their thought process is. We can re-sign Derrick Henry, but we're not going to. We want to be worse, so we'll bring in Tony Pollard. I'm just saying.
So when they got rid of A.J. Brown, did they get better?
That was a horrible trade that they made.
They make horrible decisions. Teams make bad decisions.
Yeah, but
they don't get when they think they're getting better. They don't.
Yeah, but Derrick Henry, the numbers would tell you that he's slowing down a little bit. That's what they went with. They went with the guy.
Tony Pollard's not an every down back.
Well,
he was one of the worst in the NFL last year by analytics.
I know they're taking a chance too on that, but they're going with a little bit younger, a little bit more left in the tank, a guy who could play, is a little more versatile catching the ball.
So you're telling me right now you would rather have Tony Pollard than Derrick Henry?
No, I'd rather have Derrick Henry. But the
Titans got better by getting rid of Derrick Henry for Tony Pollard.
I said Pollard Ridley.
This makes no sense.
I said Pollard Ridley. The combination of those two makes them a better offense. They got a new coordinator. They got a new coach who runs the offense. They're better.
Yeah, because they got way better at the wide receiver position. You said they got better at the running back position when I said they didn't.
They got a guy who's got a little bit more left in the tank.
Does he?
We'll see. I think he does. Last year wasn't because he was running out of juice. He wasn't at the end of his career. He's not 35 years old. It was a tough year. It doesn't mean that Tony Pollard all of a sudden forgot how to be a good player. He was a hell of a player for the Cowboys when he got a little break. Now they're going to have Spears to give him breaks, to give him spells, and he won't be having to rely on the guy every single down. I mean, they can mix it up with Spears. I'm not sure if they're going to bring in any other running backs, but I like that. I like what they're doing here. You know what you're getting from Derrick Henry. It's hard to carry the load as much as he's done and still have anything left. I still think it's a good move by the Ravens to take a chance, even though they've had so much bad fortune with running backs. And with Edwards leaving, they had to do something anyway. And to go out and get him, not have to pay too much money, is a good move on their part. But I love what the Titans did. All right. I love what the Colts did. They went out and got Joe Flacco. They lost Gardner Minshew. They got Joe Flacco. I know he's old, but Anthony Richardson's the guy. But if he gets hurt again, he can't play with that reckless abandon. Although it's going to be tough to try to tell a guy to curtail a little bit of his, because that's what made him the pick that he was. Even though he didn't have the stellar career at Florida, they saw the athleticism. He started out the year as a rookie in Indianapolis looking really good, and then he got hurt. So he has to be able to play and not be slowed down from cutting out what he does, which is throw the ball, run the ball, take hits. What he has to do is take less hits. He's got to continue to be able to be multidimensional because that's Anthony Richardson, but he has to take less hits. But in case something happens, Uncle Joe's right there.
I don't know that you can find a team with two more opposite quarterbacks. than Anthony Richardson and Joe Flacco.
No, it's impossible.
Like, you have to completely change your offense if you have to go to the backup quarterback.
Well, look, Jonathan Taylor is back in the fold, hopefully happy, and that's what they'll depend on, is him running the ball. But again, that combination, remember the season started and Taylor was out. He was disgruntled. There was the contract, and then he got injured, and then Richardson got injured, and they still hung in there. Minshew did a good job. Gardner Minshew's a good backup quarterback, but he may be the starter now in Vegas.
So how would you rank the teams in the AFC South?
AFC South? Let's see. Probably Texans first. Let me see. We got Texans, we got the Jags, we got the Titans, and we have the Colts. I'd probably go Texans 1. I think Colts could be 2. Jags 3, Titans 4. They could be 2. I didn't say they will be 2. I said they could be 2. Because again, if Anthony Richardson,
that could be a lot of things.
I know.
I'm saying who is 2?
I'm gonna go with the Colts. I thought the Colts were really good last year with Minshew. They just came up a little bit short. And now Taylor in the fold. Again, you can't predict injuries, but hopefully he'll be healthy for the good. I think a healthy Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson, that combination could be lethal. So I'm going Colts 2. I'm going Jags, take a little bit of a dip. You lose Ridley. That's a big target for Lawrence that you lose. And then the Titans, they still got a lot of holes to fill. But I still think the moves they made were good. Raiders release Jimmy G. So Jimmy Garoppolo's looking for a home. Big signing for Arizona to get Jonah Williams. 2 years, $30 million for the offensive line for Kyler Murray. That's a nice pickup for Arizona.
It's been a good market for offensive linemen, especially interior offensive linemen have been making a lot of money, but overall linemen, obviously teams know that's a position to pay. And I don't, this draft class of linemen, I'm not sure how it's considered. It doesn't seem like nearly as many first round linemen guys, but I don't know how deep it's considered as far as linemen are concerned, but teams are throwing around some money for offensive linemen.
Brian, do you feel the way I do? I said this yesterday. I want to just get your thoughts on this. That there is more big names moving, changing teams this offseason than in like any year I could think of. I go way back further than you, but as far as, do you remember this many names, big names changing places in one offseason?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to think of a time when, I mean, it's been a very busy start to the offseason, and really how it all played out of like, it was just one after the other, after the other, after the other. It wasn't like you get one this day and then maybe the next day or 2 days later you get another big name. It really felt like, 2 days ago, around lunchtime, it just bang, 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 one after the other. It was busy for sure.
Well, it also continues to show the devaluing of the running back.
Yeah, a lot of running back.
Because running backs who are big names and you still think they have something left, they were bouncing around from team to team and not getting the big deals. They were getting pretty team, I think, favor slanted toward the team rather than the player deals, and then changed venues. I mean, they were flip-flopping all over the place. So I thought it was just crazy. It's not done yet. It's a very active offseason. The question now is, and the question that I would say has been the biggest one that is not answered yet, is what the Bears are doing with Justin Fields. Because we've seen already some of these quarterbacks that have gotten new homes. And there's still a couple of teams out there that can use a quarterback. But is he even a quarterback they want? So Chicago, and that's a topic I see on ESPN, is do they keep him? Well, are we talking about keeping him by default because they don't have trade partners to get what they want as equal value? Or are they talking about keeping him and not picking Caleb? I don't think that's the situation. Or are they talking about keeping him with Caleb Williams? That would be, I think, the biggest debacle you could have. Is if you have Caleb Williams, first of all, if you bring in Caleb Williams and he doesn't start, or you bring in Caleb Williams and there's Justin Fields sitting there as the backup. I think it would cause friction. I think that would be horrible. But you're just not going to dump him for anything. I still think he's going to be traded. I just don't know which team is ready to step up. It's a dilemma.
Well, I mean, they could. I certainly could see them holding on to him if they don't like the offers. You hold on to him. You wait to see. Inevitably, we know this is the NFL. Some team will lose their starting quarterback for the season.
Sure.
During camp or right at the beginning of the year. So to have a guy like that could be the best possible quarterback for a team that loses one. I don't think it's a bad thing to hold on to him and have that as a possibility.
Yes, as far as what you're saying makes sense, but in reality, I think you're going to be looking at friction. I think you're going to be looking at disruption. I'm not saying Justin Fields is a troublemaker, but my gosh, that would be a story every single second that would be out there in the Chicago media. I don't think it would work with those two guys on the same team. Unless...
Why? Why can't they compete for the job?
I just don't think... Well, no. If they're drafting Caleb Williams, you always talk about this. If they're drafting Caleb Williams, they're drafting Caleb Williams to play from the get-go. Those days of sitting out with a clipboard and backing up a guy are long gone for not most quarterbacks, but some of those quarterbacks. Those first rounders, they're thrust right into the action. I was just talking about Anthony Richardson. I didn't think he was ready to go. He started right off the bat for the Colts and actually looked good and then got hurt.
Most of those teams, though, don't have another option when they draft those guys.
Some don't. Some
Most teams don't get the number one overall pick with a guy who can play quarterback.
I think, and this, again, it's just my opinion. I'm entitled to the opinion. I believe that it would cause problems. It would be more headaches than Chicago wants if they kept Justin Fields, drafted Caleb Williams, had both of them on the roster, started Caleb Williams, or even if they started Justin Fields. I think that every day would be a story from the national media and the local media in Chicago. I don't think it would work. But then again, I understand them also not wanting to give him away for less than fair market value. He's still a talent. I still like him. And I think some teams do. It's just right now they know they got him by the cojones. If they really want to and feel they have to make the deal. Maybe they agree with basically what Eli's saying, that they feel it can work with both of them. But I think the one option that's out the window is they'll pass up taking Caleb Williams. They're taking Caleb Williams. But because the talk was after the season, are they going to take Caleb Williams or are they're going to continue to play Justin Fields?
That's right, yeah.
Now that's not even a conversation. Mm-hmm. But they may keep him by default. Who knows? Cam Newton, he's been very busy yapping his mouth. And, Cam was an excellent player. He said it's extremely alarming that Kirk Cousins only had one playoff win in 12 years and got the contract that he did from the Falcons. Is he wrong?
Yeah, as I said the other night, not necessarily with the one playoff win, although, I mean, that is a thing. I mean, because there's plenty of other quarterbacks who've got paid a lot of money for having very few playoff wins. My thing with Kirk Cousins is paying him that much money at his age coming off an Achilles injury.
Right.
The idea that he's going to be what he was, that's a big risk to take. But Kirk Cousins generally puts up really good numbers. Again, I mean, it's not as if a lack of playoff wins can always just be, well, that's the quarterback's fault.
Mm-hmm.
A lot. I mean, they're going to take the blame. And certainly some of that is warranted. And I'd have to go back and look at all of the playoff games and all of that stuff for Kirk Cousins. I don't know what his numbers are in the postseason, all that stuff. He had the long run where he couldn't win in primetime games. He's had a lot of issues, but he generally puts up pretty good numbers. And he was really good last year before the injury happened to him. But my biggest question about Kirk Cousins is that his age coming off that injury, that would be the scary part to me.
That's the biggest question in my mind as well, because what they gave him is basically the going rate. and it may be a little bit under the going rate for a quarterback. And I can understand what they're thinking. Arthur Blank is got to be thinking, we have to do it now. We have weapons. We have a team that, I'm talking kind of as Arthur Smith here, that we believe can make a run at getting to the Super Bowl. So we need improvement at quarter.
Arthur Smith.
Not Arthur Smith. Arthur Blank. Excuse me. Arthur Smith now running the offense with the Steelers. But Arthur Blank saying, we need a quarterback. Desmond Ritter's not the answer. Everybody knew that. We knew that after day one watching Desmond Ridder. So we can bring in a guy who puts up the numbers in Kirk Cousins and make a run. But yes, it is an absolute risk at the highest level because he's coming off the Achilles. Not the money, not the lack of the playoff wins, because, again, there's other reasons why that could be. Certainly he's a big part of that, but there could be other mitigating factors. But as far as risking a guy, that's why with Brandon Clark, I hope he can get back to his old self. It would be great for the Grizzlies. Man, you come off those Achilles injuries, but you're playing football coming off an Achilles injury, that's scary. But they're taking the chance because they think they can make a run this year. And that's the only chance. That's the only reason why they're risking it with that high a risk factor. Folks, it's Chevy truck season. All the Silverados you want are at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. I mean all of them. Come get any new Silverado you want with financing down to 0.09. That's 0.09. Your good credit deserves it at All-Star Chevrolet. Trailblazers, Equinox, 1.9% financing. No payments for 90 days. Where are you going for spring break? Where are you going for Easter? What are you driving this summer? Check out these beautiful Trailblazers, Equinox, Silverados, and much, much more at All-Star Chevrolet. Military, teachers, college students, healthcare workers. You get an extra $500 bonus when you purchase a vehicle from All-Star Chevrolet. You want a pre-owned vehicle. Everything you want is here. All the Jeeps, the Ram trucks. Come drive the Yukon Denali or a Traverse with that third row seating. And if it's not there, ask Jeff or Kevin. They'll try to find it for you, and they'll do it. 99% of the time, they'll find what you're asking for. Kevin and Jeff, they're terrific. They want everyone to enjoy springtime, enjoy Easter, and come visit them at All-Star Chevy. Remember, it's not South Haven, not Mount Moriah, not Bartlett or Collierville. Go to All-Star Chevrolet today or go to allstarautogroup.com. All right, we get back into the NCAA basketball scene, the tournaments this week. The big one for Memphis, obviously, the American Conference Tournament, their only chance to get to the NCAA tournament. Can they make it through 4 days and get 4 dubs? It starts with Wichita State today. We'll talk more about that. Take your calls and texts on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines at 901-360-8255. You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
At Edwin Watts Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf, there's something that binds us all. The collective goal to transcend the ordinary. Introducing the all-new Vokey SM10 wedges. Made for lower flight, improved feel, and maximum spin. Unlock your ultimate wedge. Play with the new Vokey SM10 wedges. Visit us in store at Edwin Watts Golf Shops or online at worldwidegolf.com. Get there.
All 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Forte RE72, 39.85, MSRP 22,320. Sportage R7, 24,7640, MSRP 29,635. Telluride RG 49,9963, MSRP 41,005. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax on license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 4/1/2024. Dealer stock only.
Hey, it's my man Jeff Allen bringing sweet deals from Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah.
Hey, Randy, I've got a 2024 Kia Forte LXS that gets 41 MPG highway, and you can hit the road for just $219 a month.
That's awesome. awesome. What else you got?
2024 Kia Sportage LX, $289 a month. Both 36-month lease and $34.99 due at signing. Or go big in a 2024 Kia Telluride S all-wheel drive, $429 a month. 36-month lease and $39.99 due at signing.
Plus, get peace of mind with the 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
We're online 24/7, KiaMountMoriah.com.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
When the weather gets better, I found a new place to really soak it in. It's the patio at the commissary in Collierville. We all love the delicious Memphis-style barbecues. You can begin your barbecue fest with some great appetizers like the cheese plate or the tamales or the barbecue nachos. Oh, those smoked chicken wings, they're terrific too. Then dig into the ribs or the barbecue shoulder. Get it chopped or pulled on a sandwich. A big sandwich, or you can get it on a plate. You've got choice, and you've got choice in places. Don't forget the Germantown commissary as well. Comes with beans and slaw, deviled eggs they're famous for. And Brad, you can even order by the pound, a 6-pack or an 8-pack or even a 12-pack. The Boss Man salad, the chicken plate, the barbecue shrimp. There's something for everybody, and those great desserts. The best icebox lemon pie anywhere. Or my favorite, the banana pudding. Check out the patio, TVs for sports, and music on the weekends. You love the commissary.
Where are my basketball fans at? Present! Welcome to Fandom 101. The madness is upon us. When the biggest ballers in the land take the court, we need you loud, proud, and live cheering them on. The NCAA Division I men's basketball first and second rounds, March 22nd and 24th in Memphis. Attendance is encouraged. Passion is mandatory. Buy your seats today at ncaa.com/MVP tickets. Class dismissed.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings.
Good morning.
On Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
The NFL news, Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes. Brad Holmes, the GM. Campbell, of course, the head coach of the Lions. The Lions have announced contract extensions for them through 2027. It's actually funny because this is the way, like, you look at the comparisons of how contract extensions are handed out. So they take the Lions to the playoffs for the first time in however many years. What was it, 50, 60 years or whatever? Or won their first playoff game or whatever. They're extended through 2027. They got a whole 4 years on their current deal. Lamont Paris at South Carolina, who did a great job, SEC Coach of the Year, he gets an extension through 2029-30 at $4 million per year. Over $4 million per year. I mean, if Dan Campbell did, by comparison, at a college what he did with the Lions this past year, hell, he'd get a lifetime contract from a college.
What does he make per year?
I have no idea.
Ryan, see if you can find that out if it's available. I'm curious. Well, here's the thing. Yeah, Lamont Paris, according to Pete Thamel, was in the mix for the Ohio State job. Remember, that remains open after they fired Chris Holtmann. So he's going to stay. And you're right, the point you just made. But, okay, in college it was always, well, we want to make sure that the coach has 4 years at least because we're telling the student athlete that they're going to be around even though we know that they can leave at the drop of a hat, as can now players leave at the drop of a hat. And players who have already transferred multiple times for next fall are good. They're going to be able to play. I know that's a touchy subject there, but they're going to be able to play right away. So Lamont Paris stays at South Carolina. In this day and age, I don't know if you have to have 4 years, even for recruits, because we know that these players, whether they're coming in from high school, JC, transferring, they leave at a drop of a hat as well. So it's not the same, but he's rewarded because he had an unbelievable season. Dan Campbell is rewarded as well because he had an unbelievable season. But in the NFL, certainly, if you want to be a little stingy, you can be. Because, again, players aren't going to go to a team because they know the coach has 4 or 5 years remaining on a contract. They know that that's where they want to be. They got offered great money. They like the coach and all that. But I don't think they have to show security. So those extensions that go beyond 4 years to me doesn't make any sense whatsoever anymore. In college, doesn't make any sense in the NFL. Those 10-year deals just do not make sense to me unless that coach is going to leave. And college is a little bit different. The NFL, Dan Campbell, I think, would get scooped up, but Dan Campbell isn't going anywhere. He's building something at Detroit. So, again, he's rewarded because they had a really good year. But even if he wasn't extended another year, I don't think that's a slap in his face. I don't think it necessarily has to happen.
Dan Campbell is making roughly $4 million annually.
Okay, so Lamont,
that was his old contract?
That was the one he was
Which
on.
I'm sure he got a bump.
So he gets a bump. He's an NFL head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Lamont Paris is the head coach of the South Carolina Gamecocks and is now another coach making north of $4 million. There was a list that came out, I want to say yesterday. USA Today sent that list out, or it was on their site. There are a lot of coaches. We talked about Dennis Gates earlier from Missouri. Last year they got to the tournament, had a good year. This year, horrific. 0-19 in conference play. Has not won since 2023. He is under contract through 28-29 at $4 million per. Plus probably bumps and incentives if he does well. If they give him a bump for going 0-19, well, somebody should lose their job. But he is under contract. Again, why do you have to give the guy the contract through 28-29? Dennis Gates, I don't know if they were all, teams were like crawling over each other to get to Dennis Gates. It boggles the mind, some of these deals where schools put themselves in big holes. But in the SEC, you can buy your way out of the hole. In the Big Ten, you could buy your way out of the hole. The thing with Memphis, and I don't know what Penny's up to now, but Penny took discounts.
Yeah.
Penny's not at $4 million per year. He's probably close, but he's not at $4 million per year. He wasn't on that list I saw anyway. So, yeah, the astronomical amounts of money that these coaches are making, and then the long-term contracts where, yes, if it's cause, they can get out of it, but if it's not cause, like Dennis Gates, if they wanted to fire him, they're on the hook for $4 million per year through 28-29.
Well, and Paris was making $2.2 million a year, so a good bump for him with this new contract.
It nearly
extension.
doubles.
Yeah.
They nearly doubled his contract. But
they want to hold on to him.
It's a little different with Lamont Paris because he was in the mix for Ohio State. His name was out there. You're talking about a National Coach of the Year. Have they announced that yet?
They have not.
I mean, he's certainly a candidate. I wouldn't be surprised if he's the winner. So you have them wanting to keep the guy. They have the money. They have the resources. That makes sense. Other coaching moves certainly don't. But it's interesting. Ohio State is a very good job. Have you heard names for Ohio State? Anybody?
I have not been paying much attention to their search.
So you got Ohio State open.
Mm-hmm.
St. Louis, by the way, fired Travis
right.
Ford. SLU's a pretty decent job. You were in St. Louis, right? Pretty solid job. Atlantic 10.
It's a
Solid?
Okay.
It's an okay job.
I mean, you're not going to get paid a whole bunch of money. It's an okay job.
Okay job. All right.
Sounds like they want to get Indiana State's coach, Schertz. It sounds like if he doesn't get one of these bigger jobs, that could be who they go and get.
Yeah, and that makes sense. You're calling it a fair job. That makes sense. But we know that Louisville is a great job.
Oh, yeah.
Ohio State, pretty darn good. So these are openings now. So I'll be interested to see what people, what names come up as far as, I had heard Musselman's name, but that was kind of in passing. I think as long as, he's taking care of it, Arkansas will stay, although he was a little unhappy. He was unhappy with the fans, but we talked about this yesterday, but the fans weren't showing up because the team sucked.
Yeah.
Well, there are a lot of rumors that Eric Musselman really wants the Louisville job.
Yeah, I mean, Eric Musselman makes sense for Louisville, right? I asked the question to, who was it that I asked, compare the two jobs, the Louisville job to the Arkansas job. Arkansas, and Brett would be the one to ask this, but I would still think Arkansas is a football school.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're differentiating between one or the other,
Sure.
It could be both, obviously.
Sure.
But they've had great basketball history, so it's still a very good job, very good program. But it's still football. Louisville, still basketball.
Absolutely.
And that is a premier job out there. Ohio State's always going to be football, but basketball's had those great years. You can be both. Some schools have certainly proven it more now than probably ever. But
all these schools got to wait till DePaul makes their hire. DePaul is
right.
the premier job out there.
That's right. Almost pulled the upset last night.
Is there a
Ray Meyer's carcass could coach better than what they've had?
Is there
win more games than
is
what they've
there
had.
a Joey Meyer's son, the late Joey Meyer?
Please, no.
You don't want to go down the Meyer train?
Joey ruined the program.
Yeah, but Ray put them on the map.
Yeah, and then his son ruined it.
It always skips a generation. It goes from Ray to the kid.
I mean, and it's not even the coach. Like that program's never going to be anything again.
How were they able to get those players out of Chicago? DePaul, back in the day. How were they? Were they just?
Well, they weren't.
A lot of shoeboxes involved. I mean, how were they able to get those guys to stay?
They weren't necessarily doing it with Chicago guys. I mean, Ray Meyer was recruiting like all over the place.
Well, how was he able to get them? Period.
There was. I mean, they had. I mean, they were a good team. They won.
They won because of those players. How was he able to get the players?
I mean, there's
some of the players.
Some of the players were from Chicago, but I mean, they were.
Where was Dallas Comegys from?
Comegys is from.
Where's Mark Aguirre from?
Aguirre is Terry Cummings was Chicago. I think Aguirre is Chicago.
Yeah, I thought they got a lot of Chicago
Comegys,
guys.
I think, was Texas. You had Rod Strickland from New York. I don't remember where Tyrone Corbin came from.
Comegys was Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. Was Aguirre and Cummings both Chicago? I think Aguirre and Cummings were both Chicago.
I think they were.
But they had, yeah. I mean, he just recruited nationally because they were good. Like they were getting number one seeds in the NCAA tournament, and
but again, were they?
They were out of Chicago. Like they were a prominent program. Now they're a horrendous team. They're buried in the Big East. Like you don't see their games at all.
Right.
Back then they were on WGN. Like you could watch their games on WGN, stuff like that too. Like they were.
But my question is, were they great? Like right off the bat, or he got those players and then they became great? And how was he able to get those players? Again, the Chicago guys maybe wanting to stay and play in the city, and other guys coming in. Who knows what hanky-panky took place. Not saying anything. I'm not. Ray Meyer was a great coach. Speaking of coaches, Jeff Goodman reporting that Rice has parted ways with head coach Scott Pera. So perhaps if Rice had beaten Wichita State, maybe he saved his job.
Maybe.
Actually had a chance to talk to Scott. He's a real nice guy when I did that Rice game, Memphis Rice game. But Rice will be looking for it. So where would you rank them right there? DePaul, Rice, and SLU. SLU number one.
Good question. I'm not going to lie. And this might sound crazy, I like the Rice team this year. I mean, they fundamentally, good, didn't win games, but they played.
That's the bit.
I mean,
you can be as good fundamentally as you want.
Well,
if it results in a bunch of losses, that doesn't really
well,
matter
Eli, that's
much.
why I said it might sound crazy. But I don't know. I mean,
it wasn't
I like
crazy.
the team.
It wasn't crazy when they beat Memphis.
13th out of 14 teams in the American Athletic Conference.
Well, that's a good point.
That's you can be as fundamental as you want. Fundamentally,
Good
at the
point.
end, you need to win games.
Well, great point by you. But no, I mean, they had a lot of young guys. I thought maybe give them one more year and see what happens. But first domino to fall, I guess, in the AAC. Dusty Mays, everyone's looking at you now.
Well, they were like an Ivy League team. They played like that. They played through their big center.
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
the big center?
Oh, he was really good.
So Memphis had problem with that guy. Memphis had problems with the guy at UAB the first time around. Had problems with the guy at USF, and had problems with Golden at Florida Atlantic.
The bigs.
Problems with the bigs. And again, you run into these bigs in this tournament. You don't have Malco, who's a physical presence, and Jordan Brown can't jump over a phone book right now. So that puts a lot of pressure on Naquan Tomlin.
You mentioned Dusty May, and I mean, I don't think it'll happen, but if they were to lose their first game in the AAC and they missed the NCAA tournament, I wonder, because Dusty May could have went anywhere he wanted after last year. Like, any job that was available, he could have had. And that's why these things, sometimes you got to strike.
Oh, yeah.
Because if they were to miss the NCAA tournament, or even if they go out in the first round of the NCAA tournament this year, I wonder how Dusty May is then viewed by all of these jobs that come available. He's still talked about as some of these, but it can change in a hurry on you. So you get these opportunities. I mean, the idea that you're just going to keep Florida Atlantic being some program, and again, they weren't even that great last year. They just made a great run in the tournament.
But it's not a bad thing living in Boca Raton, for goodness sakes. What did they pay him? What's he making?
Good question.
There's no way they're going to. I mean, when you
they
can only
can't
sell 2,500 tickets for a game, you ain't going to be able to pay your coach that much.
At least you can say, man, all our games are sold out, for goodness sakes. Jeff Goodman also reporting, speak of the devil. We were talking about DePaul. Their search is focused on Chris Holtman. What a drop that would be for Chris Holtman, but at least it would be employment.
I guess so.
Right? Wow. So DePaul goes after the guy that just got fired at Ohio State. They can get him. That's a name.
Sure.
That's a big name. Rice, I don't know who they can get.
Rice will be looking at assistant coaches, I'm sure.
It will be a name you've never
Or
heard
it'll
of.
be somebody from the MEAC.
You leave the MEAC alone. I covered the MEAC. So somebody somebody tweets out, this is funny, the Louisville job. It goes, it can only be one coach for the job. And they got inside of the arena, what is it, Papa John's? No, that's the football.
No, it's KFC Yum Center.
The Yum Center, right. So they got the Yum Center. You see all the empty seats behind him, and standing up in the middle is Bob Huggins.
Oh, no.
There can be only one answer. Huggy Bear. Bring back Huggy Bear.
Lord.
Oh, my gosh.
Maybe DePaul should go after Bob Huggins.
Why not?
There would be, though.
DePaul go after Bob Huggins.
That would be.
Needs a job, I mean.
Hey, he'd fit in Chicago.
Sure. Well, maybe fit in too much.
Yeah, that could be it could end up being it may not work out well, but at least they would be.
That's right. It's a name. I mean,
they'd get some headlines.
Sure.
I mean, right now, DePaul basketball in Chicago, you have no idea they're playing. You would have no idea they're still playing, that the program still exists. I'm sure, this week they're playing in the conference tournament, but with the Bears stuff, nobody has thought about DePaul basketball in Chicago for
Not
months.
At all. Todd Golden, according to reports, gets a 2-year extension at Florida through the 29-30 season. Again, this goes back to what we were talking about. He signed up now for through 29-30 because probably his name was thrown out there by his agent. As far as the Ohio State mix, I don't think the Louisville mix, but maybe the Ohio State mix had to have been to give this guy right now at this point before they play their first game in the SEC tournament, gets 2 more years through 29-30.
One of the best things that's happened here in the past year in Memphis was the arrival of Genesis Diamonds, changing the jewelry scene here in Memphis for the better. No doubt about that. Genesis, with their selection, their prices, their service, absolutely. Top of the line, you can't get any better. If you haven't been in there, if you haven't bought jewelry there, if you've got a special occasion coming up and you need some jewelry, don't buy anywhere else until you at least go check out Genesis Diamonds. When it comes to rings, they've cornered the market on the world's most acclaimed designers. They have all of the top 10 designers in the bridal world, thousands of handcrafted rings made by those premier designers, rock bottom prices on diamonds, huge selection that's 10, 20 times what you'll find at other places. They've got guarantees and warranties that are the strongest in America, and the laid back, no pressure sales experience, because they have no commission salespeople. They're just there to help you, to educate you. They're not there to pressure you into buying the most expensive thing in the store. So again, don't buy anywhere else until you see Genesis Diamonds, and when you go in there, prepare to be blown away. Genesis Diamonds, Poplar and Perkins Extended.
Big name is on the prowl at the Players Championship. We'll tell you who that is. Also, the exact details of the Tony Pollard contract with the Tennessee Titans, and some final thoughts as we get ready for the Tigers and Wichita State Part 3 coming up in the second round of the American Conference Tournament as we continue after the break on Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
If you love sports and Mexican food, you can get the best of both at Los Cabos Mexican Bar and Grill on Summer near Graham. Watch all the big games on all the big TVs on all the walls at Los Cabos, and enjoy premium tequila shots anytime for just $5.50. Celebrate every day with lunch specials from 10 to 3 and happy hour from 3 to 8. Lunch is just $6.75 to $10.99, and margaritas start at $3.99. Experience real Mexican cuisine along with great sports at Los Cabos on Summer near Graham.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at TriumphAutoSales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Mark's Benstorff Realtors. How funny that I received an email about a year and a half ago from a pilot who told me how corny my radio ads were. I told him I agreed. After following up for almost a year, I ended up selling his house, and this was the note I just received from him. Sheldon went far beyond what any agent should normally have to do to get your house sold. From the first contract falling through on the day of closing, to the utilities being shut off when we were living 1,500 miles away, to dealing with a very inexperienced buyer's agent. He handled it all and got our house sold for a great price. Sheldon has a special purpose in life, and it is getting your house bought or sold in a very professional manner. Thanks, Tim. So if you or someone you know is thinking of selling their home, remember, when you want the job done, call Sheldon. You can reach me at 483-0546 or MemphisRelocate.com. That's MemphisRelocate.com or 483-0546.
If you're a pro and flooring is your game, we'll help you win it. Because at LL Flooring, all we do is floors. You want decor?
Strike.
You want plumbing?
You're out.
LL Flooring has been helping pros knock it out of the park for over 30 years. Visit one of our 400 nationwide warehouses for one-on-one service, extensive inventory, and exclusive pro pricing. Get the pro treatment you deserve. Enroll today, online or in-store. LL Flooring, every step covered.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
The 75th anniversary sales event is on at Gossett Volkswagen Germantown, and we've got Rock and Ronnie Smith ready to put you in your new V-Dub today.
That's right, Randy. 3's your lucky number. 2024 Taos S, or a 2024 Tiguan S, or a 2024 Jetta Sport. Your choice. $275.96 per month.
Plus, Gossett Volkswagen Germantown's got 2024 Atlas Cross Sport, $33,999. Plus 1.9 for 60 months on all Atlas and Atlas Cross Sports, and 0 for 60 months on 2024 2024 Tiguan's, but only at Gossett Volkswagen Germantown.
Come see me, Rockin' Ronnie Smith, and let me put you in your new V-Dub today.
Gossett Volkswagen Germantown, 7420 Winchester Road, or online, GossettVWG.com. All 36-month lease, 7,500 miles, 20 cents excess mileage. Cannot combine APR offer with 3,000 customer cash rebate. Pals RMO 53314, MSRP 26063, Tiguan RM 003120, MSRP 30,026, Jetta RMO 48802, MSRP 25506, Cross RC 23156, MSRP 38998. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings.
Morning.
On Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Here comes Rory McIlroy at the Players' Championship, 6 under through his first 8 holes. Has a 3-shot lead now over Ryan Moore. Patrick Cantlay also among the players at 3 under. Quick start from McIlroy.
Must have the putter working.
Did you see who's following him this morning?
Who?
Caleb Williams.
Really?
He is. Yeah, I had the ESPN Plus main feed broadcast pull it up, and they pan over, and Caleb Williams just standing there in the gallery watching some golf early in the morning. So, guess a Rory fan.
Wow, or a fan of just golf.
That's right. I guess so. One of the two.
So Tony Pollard's Titans contract goes as follows, according to reports. 3 years, $21 million, $10.49 million guaranteed, $8 million cash in 2024. Think he's going to have some people hitting him up? Hey, Tony, let me get
a little something.
Get a little, get $1,000 for
Why
him?
not?
Cap hits for
They made more last year.
Cap hits for the Titans, $4 million in 24, $8.5 in 25, $9.25 in 26. The cap hit only happens if he's there, right? If they cut him, let's say after 2 years they cut him for the third year, they're not on the hook for 9.25, are they? How does that work?
Well, they'll be on the hook for some because they'll be spreading out his signing bonus over that or all that. I mean, it's all bookwork. But some of that obviously would come off. Whatever his salary is for that year would come off.
Yeah, like Russell Wilson, the Broncos having to pay that much money to a guy that they don't even have anymore. The guy is not even working for you, and you're sending him paychecks. That is so strange that they're on the hook for, how much is it? Like $22 million that they're on the hook for?
No, they're on the hook for, well, this year. Money-wise is $37 million. 37 million.
And the Steelers are paying them $1.
They're just paying them a minimum, 1.2, something like that.
I'll take the minimum. Russell, can I have the minimum? Gosh, bless it. Great work if you can find it. Great work if you can find it.
Become a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Yeah,
and you can find it. Then you can find it.
It's easy. It's so simple. Baseball. Kerry Miller had alluded to this earlier. Dylan Cease. It's a strange time for a trade, right? He goes from the White Sox to the Padres just in time to go to Seoul, South Korea for the series with the Dodgers. Good pickup.
Yeah, it's a really good pickup for the Padres as they try and somehow compete with the Dodgers. That he had been on the market for a long time, and now they finally got somebody to cough up, I guess, enough for them to get rid of him. But yeah, very nice pickup for the Padres at a time where pitchers are falling by the wayside right now with the Garrett Cole situation with the Yankees, Devin Williams with the Brewers, who's going to miss at least 3 months, it looks like. Pitchers are falling all over the place, and so the Padres, to add somebody that's actually healthy is a nice thing.
Yet there's still a couple of those guys that are available out there. What's going on with Blake Snell?
Ask Scott Boras.
What's going on with the other guy, the former Cardinal?
Jordan Montgomery.
Yeah,
Ask Scott Boras.
Also, yeah.
Ask Scott Boras. Ask Scott Boras why they're not willing to accept any of these deals.
Maybe he's waiting for all these guys to fall off the cliff.
Maybe.
And teams get desperate. All right, so today, guys, against Wichita State, what do you expect? Let me start with you, Brian. What do you think will happen? Not just the result, but like what type of game? And that's a lot to ask because we know how roller coaster this season has been for the team.
Sure, hard to predict this team. No, I'm not super worried about today's game. I'm way more worried about tomorrow's game against UAB if they win today. I mean, I'm just hoping for a fast start. You know, we've kind of talked about that all season long. Is this Tiger team kind of struggles getting out there and really getting out in front early. So if they can do that, if they can start off fast, I don't want to say it's super comfortable, trouble, but I do think they get a win today. And, I think you brought it up earlier of they're going to need something from the bench at some point down the stretch. I don't want to, as much as I've wanted to see Penny tighten this lineup, I don't think you can throw your starters out there for 35, 36 minutes today when you hopefully will play 3 games after this. So who steps up off the bench is going to be the big question for me today.
And then
what you need to do is blow a team out.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you don't have to
which never seems to happen. Although again, in the second half of that Wichita State game at Wichita, they blew them out. And here's the thing too: it's a fairly quick turnaround. It's a 24-hour turnaround. Sure. It's not like you're playing tomorrow night.
Right.
You're playing tomorrow afternoon. What do you think?
I think the Tigers win it pretty comfortably. I think they'll win by double digits.
Look, I mean, if they're not all in now. Come on. They're focused. I would imagine. I saw the video, which doesn't mean anything, but they know, at least now they know that they have to win the conference tournament to get into the big dance. And these players came to Memphis with the hope that they would play. That Quinterly, that David Jones, that Naquan Tomlin, all these guys. Jourdain came from Temple, which has no chance, to come to Memphis, to come together, and to get to the NCAA tournament. And they probably still felt all the way up to Florida Atlantic, to that game, that we can get in as an at-large, we'll win this game, we'll still be considered an at-large, even though we talked about that. We still thought they'd be on the outside looking in. But now, their mind has to be set on one thing. 4 games, 4 days, 4 wins, and we're in. That's the only way they're getting in. So I think the focus will be there. I'll be curious to see what he does defensively, if it's going to be just continuation of the help defense, and if they struggle, does he go back to strict? I wish he would just strictly go man-to-man. Once in a while, throw in a zone, throw it back to man-to-man, but go basically mano-a-mano. I would hope to see, but I don't think we'll see that. We'll probably see the same as we've seen. But I think they'll also get out to a quick start, set a tone, win the game. And as you said, Brian, tomorrow could be a different story. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Brian will be in once again for Zach tomorrow. Eli and I will recap the game. We'll look ahead if they win, or we'll talk a lot of misery if they lose. And, of course, we'll be joined by Mr. Matt Dillon. The professor will join us from Fort Worth with the Tiger Basketball Report tomorrow. John Varlas will also join us from the public school state championships in Tennessee for basketball, as there are a number of teams involved from the Memphis area. We'll have 10 in a row, the game show that has swept the nation as well.
The first of 52 college basketball games tips off here shortly. We will have the Ole Miss game tonight, pregame coverage beginning at 5:30 for their first game at the SEC tournament against Texas A&M, but a full day of basketball action.
Yeah, and Ole Miss is in that same situation. A lot tougher task than Memphis, but they're going to have to win the SEC tournament to get to the big dance in Chris Beard's first season. Dave Woloshin will be joining us from Fort Worth, Texas, as he is getting ready for the call today. Stay tuned. Waldo and Friends on Sports 56 is coming up next. For Eli Savoy, for Brian Dacus, for Zach Boyd, happy birthday, Zach. I'm Greg Gaston. Have a great day, everybody.
Don't stop believing.
I'm Gary York. I'm the